Hello, I am Kronos Dare, and this is Azure Lane.
ユニオンバニー、キアサージ。今夜は指揮官を魅了する。安心して。あなたが
Hi,
見てくれるから
Kearsarge.
ずっと踊っていく。
Here we go. Okay, Paradiso of Shackled Light. Alright, I suppose let's get right into it. Sardinia, the land of judgments. Overnight did the old country change. Sardinia, the land of sacraments. Blessed are we by your thunder and rain. Sardinia, the land of eternity. Under the light of God are we prosperous again. Excerpt from Sardinia Under the Light of God. On the balcony of the cathedral, the newly appointed apostle, Marco Polo, stared with bewilderment at the sight before her. After a silence that was neither too long nor too short, the new apostle finally delivered her first word of address to the endless crowd stretching out before her. I suppose I should say good morning? It's awfully bright today, isn't it? After the near superimposition event that took place in Tessite Beta, Marco Polo fell into a comatose state. Now, upon her awakening, she found herself in a new world. Although she indeed was after a high throne and reverent subjects, this unexpected development left even her at a loss for words. Just as she was about to bluff her way through her speech, two girls appeared at her sides. Forgive us, Your Grace. We should have planned for the event of intense sunlight. I will set up the curtains. Please give me a moment. In the meantime, allow me to paint a picture of this holy moment. Are they the Holy See's secretary and painter? Here you are, Your Grace. While the curtains were being set up, the secretary, Giuseppe Carducci, handed Marco Polo an explanatory script for her to read. You magnificent assistants. I like this girl. Your name is Carducci, is it? Yes, Your Grace. I can see that you're having a moment. Or should I say, you look like something's wrong. Raffaello and I will buy you some time. Take this opportunity to read your script one more time, or just deliver your speech as is. We'll talk more after you're addressed to the public. Understood. Thank you. Once the curtains were set up and Raffaello had finished her sketchwork, the apostle once more showed herself to the masses. With the composure, confidence, and majestic spirit, she delivered her speech without the script. The conclusion of her address was punctuated by thunderous applause and cheers. Then the new apostle's audience was over. When the speech was over, Raffaello and Carducci escorted Marco Polo to her office. Through their conversation on the way there, Marco learned just who these two ship girls were. Giuseppe Carducci was her secretary as well as a poet. Raffaello, meanwhile, was a freelance artist to the Holy See. Thank you both for your help earlier. Goodness knows how it would have gone had you not been there. I just did my job, frankly, Your Grace. You gave an incredible impromptu speech, so why do you seem so confused at first? Did the ritual have some sort of effect on your mind, since it wasn't fully carried out? The ritual? She keenly picked up on the key word in that sentence. Yes, Your Grace. You were given form by the technology that was left behind as the relics of God. Therefore, your destiny is to become the apostle and to wield extraordinary strength. I believe I explained this to you once before. Giuseppe Carducci gave a superfluous comment under her breath. Explained it to me before. Is that like with that script? That reminds me, I think I heard something in my dreams before I came to this world. Upon me your eyes gaze, upon my ears songs of adoration echo, from the clouds I descend, returning from heaven. A voice spoke a hymn to me in my sleep. The voice sounded familiar. Wait, was this ritual not meant to herald the arrival of something? Raphaelio, were you also involved in the ritual of descent? And this isn't our very first meeting. Of course it was. In fact, the reason the ritual went so well was thanks to my part. I don't know what you mean by not our first meeting, but strictly speaking, I knew about you before you knew about me, so yeah. Excuse me, what? Oh, I see. You drew a portrait of me, and that was used as a catalyst to summon my spirit to this world, yes? But then, how did you know what I looked like? I saw you in a dream and painted that, that's how. Do you know a woman by the name of Shinano? Shina who? Who's that? Never mind, I broadly understand the situation. I can make sense of this if I interpret it as a revelation from God, but perhaps it's more? Perhaps God even gave me a chance? So then, my soul descended upon this world in the form of a spirit in a dream? Your Grace, you needn't work yourself up. Your arrival was divine intervention. Even if you do experience some after effects, that does not change the fact that you're the apostle. After effects? Forget I asked. You do at least understand that since you summoned me here, I am not a native of this world, yes? And if you're friends of mine, I'd like to verify a few things. First of all, what are the sirens up to now? Also, who is this god I keep hearing about? You're not a native of this world? Did that ritual actually summon an honest to God spirit from heaven? Huh? What are you confused about? Didn't you yourselves perform the ritual? We did, yeah, but it wasn't just a ritual. We used wisdom cubes. In theory, shouldn't you be the same as us? You literally said I was summoned using technology left in the ruins of God or whatever just a minute ago. That's all true. The ritual was held in the shipyard of God, so naturally it used technology left behind by God. Speaking of the shipyard, me and Carducci were both born in it too. It's just that no weird machines were used in our cases. I guess you're special in that way. Maybe that's why you came from a world beyond our own? That would explain everything. Aren't I a genius? Rafalio accepted her theory no later than she came up with it. Wait, Shipyard of God? What are you going to tell me next? That God is just a place name here? No, we're talking about actual divine miracles here. In addition to the shipyard, there's also the Palace of God, the Garden of God, the Armory of God, and so on. If you want to see them, I could devise a sightseeing route for you. Marco Polo's thoughts were struggling to keep up with the situation. And she's not the only one. Okay, next question. What about the sirens? Quick. What do you mean sirens? Like alarms? Dots, question mark. Dots, question mark. Ahem. It seems your grace requires a lot more information. Yes, information. Magnificent. Give it to me. Okay, I'll get it for you. However, you're meeting with the College of Cardinals soon, so I suggest you start preparing for that. Preparing as in right now? Yes, you have many matters from all over the ecclesia to deal with. Very well. I am the apostle after all. If I don't do it, no one will. Paradiso of Shackled Light. Alright. I forgot one thing. Much better. One, two, the Sardinia League. After several hellish days of gathering information, the industrious and prodigious Marco Polo had finally developed a rough grasp on the world she found herself in. After her dull meetings were over, she returned to her office, where sorted through the things she'd seen and heard over the past few days. The point is this: the Sardinia Ecclesia desired a ship-girl apostle at the heart of their belief. Through some unknown means and a lot of work, they called forth my sleeping soul and gave me a body through the use of wisdom cubes, thus bringing me to their world. Therefore, you could both say that the person they call Marco Polo is both me and also not me. From my perspective, this is something like a dream, but to these people, this world is without a doubt real. It's fascinating. I never thought I'd get to experience what it's like to descend from the heavens. Honestly, I quite like it. Marco Polo got isekai'd. And no truck-coon in sight. She lightly shook her head, then picked up a nearby dessert and casually tossed it into her mouth. Yes, I wanted to be this. An apostle. On what a planet or in what dimension doesn't matter. What matters is that God has not forsaken me. Although, was I really called here just to fulfill my ambitions? There's much awry in this world after all. She turned to the side and folded a rolled-up map sitting on a corner of her desk. The country I descended upon is known as the Sardinia League, a federation located on the Apennine archipelago. One could call it the central governing body of the states that these islands are home to. Its history goes back over 1,000 years in a time from now. At the time, it was known as the Apennine Peninsula, a name more familiar to me. As time passed, their empire would have crumbled after many consecutive years of war. Then, however, their history diverged from ours. After withstanding all those wars, the empire actually appeared to be on the brink of revival. However, the empire believed in a foreign god and was eventually destroyed by a divine punishment known as Paradise Lost. That darn Milton! So tremendous was this punishment that the empire not only was destroyed, but also the literal land on which it stood was split into pieces. Thus, the Apennine Peninsula became the Apennine Archipelago, and a nation known as the Sardinia Ecclesia was born. Then 1,000 years passed, and the archipelago developed into 7 countries that went on to form the centralized government known as the Sardinia League. At its center are the Sardinia Ecclesia and the Republic of Florence. In the west lies the Genoan Republic. To the north, the Dukedom of Milan. Eastward, the Republic of Venice. And in the south, the Kingdom of Naples and the Kingdom of Sicily. These two have since unified. Now known as the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. All states within the Sardinia League are under the rule of the Sardinia Ecclesia. They are in charge not just because they've been around the longest, but also because God truly exists in this world, and thus this God left relics across the country. These relics not only put the Ecclesia at the forefront of science and culture, but also provided it with military dominance. She carelessly threw the map aside and leaned back in her reclining chair, seemingly at a loss. The shipyard of God, garden of God, armory of God, all left behind by this being. What is going on in this world without sirens? How did it become so radically different from my world? No, wait, that's it. The siren's absence is clearly the biggest divergence. Woman Sue and the commander once said something about how the sirens conduct different experiments in each and every branch. Some experiments are modest, others extreme, and still others are rather bizarre. Many circumstances bizarre, it has to be this one, in which you're an apostle, everyone looks up to you, and you spend time monologuing in your office all by yourself. Perhaps this is another roundabout experiment. Sirens are nothing if not sly, so... Knock knock. As she was running all this information through her head, trying to figure out the sirens' plans, a few knocks rang out outside her office. Raffaello and Carducci came in. They gazed at Marco Polo lying sideways in her recliner. Your Grace, I'd advise you to become more cognizant of your appearance. Carducci put away the snacks scattered around the desk and sorted through their papers. Raffaello, meanwhile, stared intently at Marco Polo, drawing a picture of her in her mind. What does it matter when only my inner circle comes here anyway? I care not to look dignified around the clock. One moment. Alright, let's continue. What brings you here now, anyway? We received news that cleaning work has finished at the Ninth Armory of God. It's ready to be opened. Of course, if you still need time to prepare, I could ask them to wait a day or two. The Ninth Armory? College of Cardinals mentioned it. That's the one that's been sealed since ancient times. And only I could open it, yes? Correct. The Holy See's ancient records state that God not only left his most powerful weapons there for his subjects, but also that the key to even greater power lies there. Time for an outing, then. Magnificent. My curiosity is piqued and I'm ready to go. As you say, I'll begin preparation for your departure at once. We'll leave in an hour. Let's go, Raffaello. Wait. I just got a surge of inspo. Let me at least draw a sketch first. Carducci, let Raffaello stay here for a while. The importance of depicting my majestic figure is not to be understated. Very well. We'll reconvene in an hour. Nobody but me can open that armory, eh? The responsibilities of being the chosen one. How magnificent. Be they a god or a siren, I will personally reveal their true form. Belief or concept? After a bumpy ride, Marco Polo and her aides arrived at their destination. Exiting their car, they found that their escort, Maggiore Baraccia, was already waiting for them in front of the church. Cannons! Ready for a salute! Kaboom! Your Grace, welcome to the Armory of God. I am Maggiore Baracca, your bodyguard. How was your journey? With a courteous bow, Maggiore Baracca introduced herself to Marco Polo. Baracca? Faced with such a grand and splendid reception, Marco Polo was overcome with emotion. Vento, Littorio, and Clemenceau always get special treatment just like this. But in this place, I'm the important one. Oh, my journey went fine, thanks. I trust you'll keep us safe, Baracca. Incidentally, what is this church? Is this the Armory of God 9, the one I'm going to open? Although the building before her certainly was impressive, it didn't quite fit with her image of the Armory of God. It's just a facade to hide the entrance, Your Grace. The real armory is underneath the church. I suppose that makes sense. If you want to hide a big structure, put it underwater or underground. Once upon a time, I did. Actually, never mind. Sensing the inquisitive eyes of onlookers, she cut herself short and looked around with a hint of awkwardness. Turning her gaze upward, she caught sight of two figures who she recognized. Yeah, this angle's good. Gotta snap a few more photos to record this historic moment. Hey, Da Vinci, try to hold a little more steady. We're going off course. I'm doing the best I can, alright? Alfredo and Da Vinci, did they get set here too? No, wait, calm down. They could be natives to this test site, for all I know. That is the Ecclesia's famous journalist Alfredo Oriani. That is the genius inventor Leonardo da Vinci. They are asked to record this historic moment. They were, however, not asked to board a flying machine and take pictures from the air. They are an independent party. If they're an annoyance to you, Your Grace, I can tell them to leave at once. Carducci noticed that Marco Polo was staring at them, so she issued an explanation. Interesting. Has it been long since they were materialized? Yes, they're trustworthy allies who've served the Ecclesia for quite some time now. No issue then. I've been in a good mood lately, and I'd hate for my test site beta origins to be exposed. Magnificent. The more people to photograph my splendor, the better, I say. Let's leave them be for now and get down to business, shall we? Sure, right this way, Your Grace. Maggiore Baracca escorted the apostle and her aides underground and went through a tunnel hidden behind a secret passage. At the end of the tunnel, the walls around them turned metal. The lighting and general structure, too, were radically different from what they saw before. At some point, Raffaello had also overtaken Baracca as the one walking at the front. We're finally at the outer periphery of the Ninth Armory and just about to pass through the first checkpoint. Whatever you do, don't go in front of me until the safety check is finished. Raffaello went straight forward, approaching a high security gate. A gate made of an unknown metal and a strange automated security system. It's far beyond the understanding of the Sardinia League's technological standard. Yet this white-collar scheme doesn't feel like any siren structure I've seen. No, don't jump to conclusions. This could be a clever camouflage employed by the sirens. Okay, check's done. We can go through. While thoughts rushed through Marco Polo's head, Hervalio completed the first checkpoint's verification process. The heavy gate slowly opened, and as soon as the path forward appeared, a realization dawned upon Marco Polo. Hervalio, didn't you say I was the only one who could open this door? How come you did with such little difficulty? Good question. Just 'cause I'm awesome, I guess. I'm kidding. I can only get us through the outer checkpoints. Opening the gate to the armory proper, only you can do that. That's still part of the same facility. Isn't that strange to you? Seems I must once again explain matters. As you should know, the Ecclesia has been carrying out a several-year-long plan to create a ship capable of opening the armories of God. As such, your materialization had some different processes from the rest of us. Raffaello's art was one of them. In fact, Raffaello herself was materialized in the very step of the plan preceding yours. Thus, her situation is also a little different. With the help of a relic of God, she was born with some unique powers. One is being able to condense the power of belief through the act of drawing. The other is being able to pass some verification steps in God facilities. She can condense the power of belief? So even the little things you do contain safeguarding sacred power, do they? They're also capable of performing miracles, I take it. I wouldn't go that far. I guess you could say the effect depends on how well I can conceptualize something or how compatible with God's machines I am. Let's say I don't know what you mean by conceptualize something and how compatible with God's machines you are. How would you explain it? Well, the conceptualize part is straightforward. Literally how I conceive something with my mind. Everyone in the Holy See, like Carducci, for example, likes calling it power of belief, but Da Vinci and I both think calling it brain power is more accurate. It's not like it's an ability exclusive to those with strong faith. Heck, even casual believers and atheists more or less have the same thing. It's also not really linked to the divine either, so it's a figure of speech. Also, random people can't simply conceptualize a physical thing that authenticates them with God's machines, can they? See, that's why it's so weird that the Holy See calls it the power of belief. The source of power is the same, so why is belief the only thing they allow to convert into something else, while the rest isn't? Ahem! Oh, sorry. Raffaello remembered the importance of not slandering the Holy See right in front of the apostle. Okay. She made an awkward expression, then looked anxiously in Marco Polo's direction. The apostle was not stirred in the least. Indeed, she looked indifferent, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. So she can use her conceptual ability through art, but she must obey the Holy See's rules. I don't make the rules, though. I'm the apostle, for heaven's sake. Perhaps I could get her to conceive and materialize 1,000 powerful weapons. Yes, that's what I'll do. After all, the apostles should at least possess a fleet devoted to her. I'll get Queen Elizabeth and Clemenceau and Frederick de Grosse and even the commander, and have them all work for me. Oh, Your Grace, is everything all right? Oh man, she wants my head on a spike, doesn't she? Anything but. It's just an amusing thought struck me. Raffaello, when you paint for me next time, could you provide me with some more creative designs? Creative designs? Like what? Oh, a holy lance, for instance, or 4 pairs of wings, or perhaps even a divine armored mech. Oh, so you have a taste for that sort of stuff. If that's what you want, I'll gladly oblige your grace. I am free to draw other things too. Would you like to have a mythical creature as a pet? Oh, you are an ingenious artist. You know just what I like. And you're the most unique, open-minded client I've ever had. Oh, you and I will be excellent collaborators. Took the words right out of my mouth. Dots. Okay. Raffaello gets along really well with Marco Polo. The Gate of the Chosen. While Marco Polo and Raffaello laughed and laughed, the group had reached their final destination. That over there, that's the gate you and I can't get to open. The Holy See calls it the Gate of the Chosen One. Rumors say that God's most powerful weapons, including getting even greater power, lie beyond. Anyway, Your Grace, it's your time to shine. Child's play. Eyes peeled now. With confident strut, Marco Polo walked up to the Gate of the Chosen One. She remembered the important things Raffaello told her at the previous checkpoint. She recited a prayer and pushed against the alloyed part of the gate with both hands, and nothing happens. Then she felt a jolt of energy travel from her head to her toes, as though that was the sign her identity had been verified. The jolt dissipated, and at the same time the gate slowly opened before her. Damn! Just like that, I was expecting there to be more fanfare, more glittering lights, or something. Congrats, Your Grace. The Sardinia Ecclesia has grown mightier today thanks to you. Yes, and may I yet grow mightier too. Ahem, let us not celebrate so soon. Come along now, it's time to see what's in there. On the other side of the massive gate was a mind-bogglingly large space. Mountains, rivers, even a sky? Whoa, I wasn't expecting there to be a sacred domain here of all things. This is the second ever domain the Ecclesia has found. The first being the Garden of God beneath the cathedral. This is blatantly a mirror sea. The possibility of a secret siren involvement just rose significantly. Ahem. Pray tell, what exactly is a sacred domain? Well, this. Just look at it. We're underground, yet there's somehow a sky over our heads. A sacred domain is what the Holy See calls a space that constitutes its own world. It's considered a sacrament of the highest caliber. Based on Maya and Da Vinci's research, this place and rigging technology should have pretty similar roots. Of course, rigging, ship girls, this. The Holy See refers to all of them as sacraments, so yeah. I guess you could say it's an impeccable self-contained system. Ahem. Sorry I'm rambling again. Teehee. It's fine. I don't let every little thing get on my nerves. Moreover, some parts of your musings are interesting. Now, seeing as you need the Chosen One to enter this place, I seriously doubt there are any traps or such out to harm us. What do you say we split up and cover more ground, A most prudent proposal, Your Grace. Magnificent. Then let's go. Remember, if you find any machines, do not touch them. And should anything happen, call me at once. We'll regroup here in 3 hours. After the group scattered in every direction, Marco Polo went the way that had caught her eye since she first entered the Mirror Sea. Over many years studying Mirror Seas, she had developed an intuition that if she kept going, she was bound to find an important structure. This intuition was in fact correct. Her attention was drawn by a facility buried in a mountain range not far from here. She went inside and conducted a basic search and found something that proved her suspicion was more than anything else up to this point. A storehouse for the Mirror Sea's mass-produced fleet and pawns, and massive defensive installations unlike anything I've seen before. These must be the rumored powerful weapons. As for the means to even greater power, a siren production line, perhaps? I'm sure of it now. While their appearances don't match anything I've seen, this armory of guys is in fact a siren armory. Wait a moment. Now that means the god who the Sardinia League has been worshipping for centuries is the sirens. The Ecclesia and the Holy See are mere puppets for the sirens' beck and call. And I am their apostle, so I'm a puppet leader? Oh no. Am I being controlled yet again? No, wait, that doesn't add up. If the sirens are this test site's god, then that doesn't mean I was chosen. Doesn't that mean I was chosen by the sirens? That can't be right. When I was in that white space, I could feel his presence. But do I have control over these siren facilities? What's strange of all is I'm at what appears to be the heart of this place, yet I've not seen a single elite siren thus far. If Observer or Kin were here, shouldn't they come back to speak to me at this point? Since they haven't, what do they expect me as a puppet to do? That proves it. I am not under anyone's control. Yes, I'm not a puppet. I truly am the chosen one. It was the sirens who summoned me. No, it was God. He saw the blasphemous state of the world and sent me to correct it. That has to be it. God, Marco Polo. So insufferable. 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye while Marco Polo racked her brains. Is there more rattled them around inside of her head? It was time to rendezvous and go back. Your Grace, I've recorded all of our findings over this expedition. As was written in ancient text, this is indeed an armory of God. Once again, congrats to you, Your Grace. As far as I can tell, all the facilities are in sleep mode, yeah? Hey, Catastrophe. Well, we're just getting started. I haven't really done much other than get a little bit into the story. Your Grace, what do you say we boot him up? Sure. Wait, no. Is something the matter, Your Grace? She wants to just fire up a siren production line? Is she insane? Well, you see, the situation's more complicated than I anticipated. If you wake the small fry, fine, not the end of the world, but what if you wake the sleeping giants? What, do you think you could take on someone the likes of Observer, huh? It would be unwise to make a hasty decision, given the importance of this place. We should evaluate our options and, yes, we must think things through carefully. Ideally, I can figure out a way to blow all this to Kingdom Come later. This is my final verdict as the Apostle. Let us debate whether or not to initiate the facilities another time. For now, we're going home. This place is dangerous. I must get away post-haste. And so, it was over. The new Apostle had completed her opening and inspection of the Ninth Armory of God. Okay, so now that Catastrophe has arrived, let's go ahead and do our polls. Alright, so we've got one SR, one Elite, and the UR to pull, and I have got 5-10 pulls worth of space. So, Catastrophe, how have your polls been for this event? Here goes nothing. Well, looks like I got the sub right off the bat.
方とはいっぱい楽しんでいけそうね。仲良くやりましょう。
Mature Baraka? Is that what she said? Okay. Okay. Thrill Seeker increases this boat's accuracy and torpedo crit damage by 10%. During battle, whenever this boat deals damage with her torpedoes or receives damage, 30% chance to gain 3% increased torpedo, can be stacked up 7 times, and additionally gaining 1 stack of this effect every 4 seconds. When this effect reaches 7 stacks, fires a special barrage. Okay. Born Adventurer increases this boat's damage dealt by 5%, increases an additional 5% when this boat's HP falls beneath 80%, lasting until she leaves the battle. Every 5 seconds after entering the battle, if this boat's HP is greater than 30%, deducts her HP. Okay, she loses health, and as she loses health, she gains more damage. Okay. Barrage runs per battle when she falls below 30%. Restores 25% of this boat's max HP, increases her evasion rate by 25% for 10 seconds. That's freaking strong. So she kills herself to make her stronger, then gets a huge buff when she hits her limit. Okay. Got 5 of the sub and 2 VVs, which was topical. Open ocean support increases this boat's oxygen by 20. And once per sortie, while this boat is afloat, you can call in submarine support even if your fleet is outside the submarine's ASR or an Operation Siren. Minus 6% AP cost. That's not terrible. Okay. What say you... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hi, Dunkirk. California. Oklahoma. Tennessee. Kinagasa. Kent. Oklahoma. Pensacola. Another Pensacola. Okay, we started strong with an event ship right off of the bat. That was my first pull. Let's see what else we can get. Okay. Alba. Portland. Nevada. Portland. Pennsylvania. Terror. Pensacola. Norfolk. Issei.
バルトロメオ・コレオーニサリア艦隊作戦参謀がサポートします。ご安心ください。戦術分析と作戦配置において万全なよろしくお願いしますね、指揮官。
She was very officious right up until the end of her lines. Okay. Combat analysis complete. It decreases the ship's damage taken by 15%. When the battle starts, increases your vanguard's damage dealt by 10% for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, deploys barriers lasting until the battle ends around every ship in your vanguard, each able to negate damage equal to 3% of the max HP of its respective ship. That's interesting. So is this a one-time shield, or is it a shield that is basically a 3% damage damage dealt reduction? Interesting. Strict Flower of the Sardinia increases the ship's firepower, torpedo, and evasion by 15%. And the ship fires her torpedo, 70% chance to fire a barrage. Okay. And she's the light cruiser, so... Always tradition to have the elite look the best. Armpits, great. Yeah. Thanks, Washington. Okay. 2 10 pulls, 2 event ships. So that leaves Andrea Doria, which is the 5%, and Rafalio. It's a wandering Kent. Shropshire. Oklahoma. Norfolk. Shropshire. Chicago. Another Bartholomew Coloni. Houston. Nevada. Northampton. Okay, nada that time. Shropshire. Chicago. Repulse. Pensacola. Dorsetshire. Kinagasa. Portland. Majore Baraka. Chicago. Repulse. Well, at least we got another copy of an event ship. Repulse. Chicago. Houston. Oklahoma. Pensacola. Oklahoma. Sussex. Oklahoma. Another Houston. London. Oh, that's a big old F. Not you. Alright, so got room for 3 10-poles now. Come on, Rafalio. Chicago. Prince Adalbert, what are you doing here? Kent. London. Northampton. Kent. Chicago. Nevada. Shropshire. Nevada. Well, we got a wild Adalbert there. Nothing for the first two. Norfolk. London. Kent. Northampton. Erebus. Oklahoma. Nevada. Pensacola. Sussex. Alba. Ooh, that was a big old F on that 10-pole. Alright. One more before I have to clean out dock space again. What the heck could be coming at 410? Ah, it's Sister Pen. Kent. Another Bartholomew Coloni. Nevada. Hugo. Northampton. Northampton. A wild San Francisco. Oklahoma. Kent. Well, all right. Got room for 2 more 10-poles. Let's see if I can do this within 100 pulls like Catastrophe. 410 and 420. Near those is probably Rafalio, though. Repulse. California. Suffolk. Portland. Norfolk. Nevada. Hugo. Chicago. Nevada. Sussex. F. Alright. 100 pulls. 425. What could that be? That's Issei. Repulse. Another Bartholomew Colony. Suffolk. Nevada. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. California. Prince Oregon. Shropshire. Well... Well, the elite likes me. It did start off quite well. Cacao. Nevada. Chicago. Suffolk. Nevada. California. Portland. Issei. Chicago. Chicago. Jeez. Alright, I've still got room for a 10 pull. Neither of the first two would be the UR. Shropshire. Nevada. Nevada. Suffolk. Portland. Nevada. Pensacola. Huga. Another Bartholomew Colony. Northampton. Well, this isn't looking so hot. And now we're below the threshold for... Actually, let's not use up those. Let's nuke everyone but the battleships. Let's nuke one battleship. Okay, that gives me room for 2 10 pulls. Come on, Rafalio. Oklahoma. Another Adalbert. Here we go. This is a rather wild summons after animation.
ねっとりじっくり体の隅々まで観察させていただいて。おっと失礼。自己紹介はまだよね。私はサリア所属のラファエロ。決して怪しいやつではないわ。君の人生のすべての大事な瞬間をこの筆で書き起こしていくんでよろしく。まあ、知られたくないことも書いちゃうけど。
Is it just me, or does she give the impression of being quite young? Alright, Jet Black Dedication increases the ship's firepower and accuracy by 10% whenever a ship in your main fleet or the frontmost ship of your vanguard hits an enemy with a weapon equipped in that ship's first slot. It's basically their main gun. 50% chance to apply 1 stack of jet black paint to the enemy. Each weapon that triggers this effect can only apply 1 stack every 5 seconds. For each stack of jet black paint applied, the effective enemy's speed is reduced by 5%, lasting for 10 seconds. So, maximum 15% buff. When an enemy accumulates 3 stacks of jet black paint, that enemy will receive Artist Dedication, increasing their damage taken by 6% for 10 seconds. If the attacker is a Sardinia Empire ship, further increases the damage dealt by 6%. So she's basically a side grade to both Savetsky Soyuz and what's her name, the French UR battleship. She does a 6% damage taken increase, and she has a slow, which all the others do, and they also have weird prerequisites for their skills. Pearlescent Blessing reduces the ship's shelling damage taken by 25%. Wow, that's strong. Alsace, yeah. Ships in your fleet gain pearlescent paint every time they take damage equal to 20% of their max HP combined. An allied ship sinks an enemy ship with a jetpack blank debuff. That ship receives pearlescent paint. If that ship receives pearlescent paint stacks equal to the number of jet black paint applied to the defeated enemy. As long as Rafalia remains afloat, each time an ally gains pearlescent paint, that ship gains a barrier that can negate damage equal to 1% of Rafalio's max HP, lasting for the duration of the paint. Barrier does not stack or refresh the paint, refresh the duration of the barrier. When a ship in your fleet accumulates 3 stacks of the paint buff, that ship receives Artist's Blessing, increasing your damage dealt by 6% for 10 seconds. Additionally, gives Rafalio 1 stack of paint. If the recipient of Artist's Blessing is a Sardinian Empire ship, further increase that ship's damage dealt by another 6%. So she's rewarded for sorting her with Sardinia ships. Apex Artist. While this ship is afloat, whenever a fleet in the ship's not in the cross fleet, fires a special cross fleet barrage. Special barrage activates. The following effects take place based on if jetpack paint and pearlescent paint are currently applied on the battlefield. Allies by pearlescent restore 2% of Rafalio's max HP to the ship with the lowest current percentage of HP. I think she has around 10k HP at 125. So 2% would be like 2,000 HP. No, that would be 20%. 200 HP. If any allies are affected by Artist's Blessing, this effect will activate 3 more times. If any enemies are affected by jet black paint, the crit rate of the special barrage is increased by 50% and the barrage is improved. Enemies are affected by Artist's Dedication. Additionally, increases the crit damage of this barrage by 20% and further improves the special barrage. Okay. So, is she designed to lead pasta fleets against long, drawn-out boss fights, a la World 15? Or is she designed for mobbing? Long, drawn-out fights, aka World 15. Huh. I don't know if I like her for World 15 any better or worse than Bismarck Zed or Musashi. Okay, Washington, what say you? Yeah, brag. Mamma mia. Long skills, yes. Very long skills. Nevada. He. London. Crapshire. No idea how to evaluate her. It really depends on how reliable her blessings are. Norfolk. Chicago. Okay. So, 130 pulls. That's not terrible. I'm still have a pretty decent coin reserve. I've got enough of these 4 to fully limit break that ship. Alright. Oh, simple thing. Time joined. Hi, Rafalio. I've got a Chicago to go nuke. What surprises me is in 130 pulls, I didn't get a copy of Andrea Doria Meta either. I'll be honest with you, I never really used any of the UR battleships that have been released since Bismarck's dead. They kind of just sit in my dock at 125. 5% is one every 200 pulls. Yes, it is. Hooray for math. Okay. And I've got exactly enough Rainbow Bulin to fully limit breaker. Wow. Eight one zero zero six. Okay, hey, I was at least able to max her firepower. Really? Your Kearsarge and Yorktown too? Those are probably my most used. No, I take it back. My Yorktown 2 fleet doesn't have Kearsarge in it. She's got Enterprise instead. And that Yorktown 2 fleet nukes probably 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20 of the abyssal bosses in Operation Siren. Everything except for the heavy armor bosses, I just plow over with those two ships. All right. Oh, it's still on the time joined. Use BBs for anti-light. Yep. But I can also pretty much do a mix of HE and AP rockets and roll over both light armor and heavy and medium armor bosses. And you mostly get those. There, that'll start those two off. And the heavy armor bosses, I just use the Sakura carrier fleet on. Can you tell I'm running out of ships to raise? Oh wait, I don't need to get rid of 3, I just need to get rid of 2. Alright. The heck is that of animation? Oh, that's kind of a cool dance. Come here, you. She likes being picked up. She's dancing on top of a set of books. Okay, whatever. Oop, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Second floor. Let's put the new battleship in there. Gramkey, Dorsetshire, and Ariake. Yeah. AKA, there's a lot of ships that are already developed, and you're running out of stuff to actually do. Okay, here you are. Notice the horns. What's she doing? Oh, is that wacky? Yeah. Azurline posted a video of this. That's pretty cool. Yeah, her design is a lot like Napoli's. I wonder if they shared an artist. Ha! Look at that. That's a cute dance. Look at that smile. Alright. Let's get you in the drink. Assuming I can pull you into it. Oh, come on. Where's the trigger point for this dumb thing? There we go. She's not a fan of baths. Good to know. Alright. I have less than 10 non-collab Muse ships left that aren't level 120. Well, I mean, I've got a little more than you do. I don't think I grind quite as much, but... Wow, I have to get about halfway down my dock before I don't hit a ship that's 120. Then to get it into a ship that's not 105, all the way to the very bottom. Heck, I deliberately do not raise all the little ships. They've gotten all the way to 99 just on commission XP. Okay. Moving along. Oh, wait. Yes. Yes, Amagi. Let's put... Yeah, Napoli. Yeah, I don't want you there, but... Gotta go down to level 100. There we are. So we've got Rafalio. Then where art thou? Then we've got Napoli. I think the art style is very reminiscent. I haven't looked, but did they share the same artist? Oh, that gun's a little over 5 seconds, so I think that would be a pretty decent gun to use to trigger the ink skills. Okay. Moving along. Okay. First step in the night. Republic of Florence, capital, City Street. On this pleasantly sunny day, the streets of Florence were as lively as ever. A girl in red with one distant comrade in a less conspicuous, shadowy corner of the capital. Andrea, how are preparations at the rear proceeding? I finished negotiations. The Venetian and Genoan republics will join us in turn. As for the Dukedom of Milan, they will remain neutral given their allyship with the Ecclesia. Our only direct opposition is the Republic of Florence. The most convenient outcome we could have hoped for. Florence? The girl in red cast a glance upon the lively streets, but she stopped herself and shook her head. Everything is going smoothly. It's a good start. We've spent countless years working towards this day. One decrepit theocracy can't stop us, nor can their false god. We will be the ones to pen the end of this long tale. Don't worry, my infiltration is a success so far. Everyone should think that I'm still in Rome with the Republic of Venice's delegation. Even the lattice of God's light can't penetrate the pall of eternal night. The time has come for us to break out of our confines. So it has, and so we shall. Okay, there's no sirens, but there's battleships. Unknown location. Unknown time. He might oath Andrew Doria meta. You like your design that much, huh? Utopia Savoy and Dr. Atost's Project H. After my return from Naraka, while I tried to deliver the sleeping Marco Polo to the ashes, I was warped to this gate. Week for leggy European battleships. Ooh. A recording had played before leaving me in a world of endless white. The only notable thing here was the constant feeling of being watched. Well, I mean, Monarch. I looked in the direction where it seemed to come from, and amidst the white expanse, I noticed a barely perceptible change. There's something over there. Some kind of silhouette? It's a door! Immediately as I perceive it, a thin path seems to appear in the empty space. A single door stands quietly at the end of it. Is that how this place works? Something only begins to physically exist as you perceive and attempt to observe it? That must mean this isn't just an empty white space. It could be full of things, only invisible because I've yet to observe them. We're getting all quantum bullshit. And Archangel. While I ponder it, I walk slowly towards the new door. I reach out to touch it, and everything changes abruptly. Specks of blue light flicker like stars amidst a sea of black. They appear, move, and fade, all in regular intervals. Throughout this repeating cycle, a few clusters of stars form four figures of varying clarity. Oof. Connectivity test success. Spatial structure stable. Data exchange normal. Flow is stable. Perception is clear. And reactions are acute. Now commencing the 114th Project Arbiter Artificial Mind Briefing. Present members: War Protocol Fortress, War Protocol Moon, War Protocol Scythe, and Project H. Commencing information exchange. What a dry and formulaic intro. As usual, I guess. 5 topics for discussion. Let me start. Hold it. I want to speak with Project H first, particularly regarding the abnormality that occurred during yesterday's equipment prototype testing. Your report mentioned unusual visual changes that exceeded sensors' detection radius, was it? You know, Project H, we can see each other's structures in our most fundamental forms here. How about you bring back the equipment you were testing and try to replicate the tissue? Maybe we can see the problem for ourselves. What? Okay. Yeah. Marco Polo's dream. After the investigation of the Ninth Armory of God, Marco Polo stayed locked up in her office, putting all of her energy into devising a plan. AKA monologuing like a loser. However, she did not neglect her work as apostle. A week passed by in what seemed like seconds. While she had yet to complete her secret plans, the mountain of work she used to the Holy See had been dealt with. You called for me, Your Grace? Ah, Carducci, I see. I have finished all the work at hand. That is everything, yes? I must apologize. We have no more at the moment. It's not enough. Nowhere near enough. I need more work. I need more data. I need more information. My knowledge of this world is still all too lacking. At this rate, my brilliant plan could never come to fruition. Hey, Carducci, is it just me or is your Grace gone cuckoo from overwork? She's just plain cuckoo as it is. You'll hold your tongue if you know what's good for you. You didn't disagree, though. That means you must agree. That's enough. I have nothing but respect for her Grace and her impeccable work ethic. You know I can hear everything you're saying, right? Your Grace, we think you may be overburdened. Have you considered more frequent rest? A new church has just been completed in Florence. It would be a lovely change of pace to pay them a visit, I'm sure. Ooh, that one? They put up a gallery of my newest collection of paintings, too. A whole collection of church murals. Yes, that does sound perfect. Wait, a church? Isn't that some kind of dangerous house of horrors built under sign or orders, was it? If it is, then that's all the more reason I need to see it. What do you think, Your Grace? Very well, a brilliant idea, and one that I was just pondering myself. Prepare to leave at once. God, Marco Polo's so bombastic. Amidst the rhythmic shaking of the train, the party proceeded onward to Florence. Marco Polo checked on each of her subordinates one by one. There's only two of them. Well, three with the bodyguard. Giuseppe Carducci quietly composed a poem. Meanwhile, Raffaello gazed at the scenery outside, no doubt envisioning her next work. Their escort, Maggiore Baracca, was in the midst of a spirited debate with two uninvited guests, Alfredo Oriani and Leonardo da Vinci. What are those two losers doing here? These familiar voices finally eased Marco Polo's mental tension from the past week. The excitement of being chosen, the loneliness of a new world, the fear of a siren conspiracy, the exhaustion of many days' hard work. So much had pressed her lately, but at this moment she managed to fall into a deep sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. And look at all the pretty pastel colors. In the morning light, a well-regulated army received their leader's inspection. Oh, God. Your Grace, the Crusaders await your review. The parade commemorating 100 years of your rule has been in the works for a long time. We won't disappoint. Very good. Well done, Veneto and Littorio. Just a shame that the weather's a little too chilly for my liking. Your cloak, Your Grace. Good, and my scepter? I have your scepter here, Your Grace. Oh! Manju really likes Oriani. Maybe she's popular in CN. Maybe. Delete that one, Alfredo. I wasn't posing. We'll need to take it again. Yeah, you're supposed to laugh like that with your hand up by your face. As you wish, Your Grace. Raffaello and Da Vinci, I trust you carefully consider the composition of my portrait. You can trust us, Your Grace. Your Grace, Marco Polo the Great. Rest assured, Your Grace. Your Grace, it's almost time to begin the procession. As I recall, Richelieu is to lead the first troop, yes? That is correct. Good. And who goes after her? Actually, read all of the formations out to me. As you wish. The second will be led by Queen Elizabeth, third by Bismarck, and the fourth by Roma. The fifth by Sovietsky Soyuz, the sixth by Iowa. Iowa reference! Yamato reference! The seventh by Yamato, and the eighth by Yatsen. Finally, the 9th to 13th formations will be headed by your 5 archangels. Good. Wait, come again. 5 archangels? Yes, Your Grace, the 5 archangels who descended by God's will and now serve as your loyal subordinates. The Archangel of Insight, the Archangel of Ordeals, the Archangel of Cleansing, the Archangel of Annihilation, and the Archangel of Construction. They're all sirens. Wait a second. Observer, Tester, Purifier, Remitter, and Compiler? Even they obey me? No, Your Grace. Marco Polo the Great, they only serve God as his messengers. Oh, God? What does that make me? Your Grace, surely you must know yourself better than anyone. No, I'm not their puppet. Whatever sham god those sirens worship, it's not real. To call them angels is a damn lie. Your Grace, the archangels are listening. You must calm yourself. I'm God's messenger. I'm the chosen one. Your Grace, Marco Polo. Uh-oh. Nah. Your Grace, did you have a nightmare? The nightmare? It started off as a good dream. Don't worry about me. I just haven't been sleeping well. Guess even my dreams are stressed out. Hey, why has the train stopped? We're already there. The others are checking station safety. Once they're done, you may alight. We've got some stuff to do, so we're out. Thanks for letting us hitch a ride. Bye-bye. See ya. May not need to wait. Nobody can scratch the Great Da Vinci, or so she claims, and apparently they find it strange for ship girls to be stuck waiting for safety checks on a train. I happen to agree. Why do we have to wait? According to Baraka, this is Holy See tradition. But I am a ship girl. Forget the tradition. Let's just go to the church already. Are you certain, Your Grace? Who knows what the enemy might be scheming while we waste our time? We have to act fast. Plus, that dream of mine just now gave me a brilliant idea that might get us the upper hand. Sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about whatsoever. Forget it. What matters is we take action now instead of dawdling. Let's go, let's go. 2-1, Gate 3. Unknown location, unknown time. When I returned from the recorded memory beyond the door, the distant silhouette I saw feels like it becomes just a little clearer. Project H and something about an artificial mind must be referring to an AI. As thoughts float through my head like clouds, a new door reveals itself ahead on the path. I reach out to touch it and everything changes abruptly. Oof. This looks violent. A fleet proceeds at high speed across a silvery white sea. That doesn't look silvery or white. It looks red and violent and stormy. Here, Font. We will arrive at the distress signal's point of origin in 3 minutes. Currently, no signs of life have been detected. Yes, I know. The interference is so strong that my research results aren't reliable. Boom. Warning. Mimic beasts detected in distress signals' area. Looks like they're lying in ambush. Mimic beasts. Warning. Mimic beast interference across all ship systems detected. That confirms it. This is a trap. Employing experimental rod of Hierophant. Hierophant, the interference is getting weaker. Yes, I detected the source of it disappeared at the same time. Why are we listening to a one-sided conversation? Experimental rod of Hierophant usage complete. Data collection complete. Tunguska meteorite sample status is normal. Employing experimental rod of Hierophant. Disintegration characteristics. Pure white. Observation successful. Strike effect detected. Airborne and waterborne mimic entity vector zones are collapsing. Experimental rod of Hierophant usage complete. Data collection complete. Tunguska meteorite sample status is normal. Hierophant coordinates for the next stage of operation have arrived. Revising course. Oh, I don't think I've had to pronounce Tunguska since Schlack Mercenary ended. Anyway, a strange sense of unease gripping her. Marco Polo headed straight to the destination with her aides. At first, that is. Then the free and lively mood of Florence lured her into taking a pleasant stroll through the streets. They enjoyed a relaxing field trip detour before eventually arriving at the church. There, Marco Polo laid eyes on the murals Raffaello had painted, taking away the last dregs of unease in her mind. Now, as she lay sideways in a lounge chair in a garden, thinking about another important matter. Well, this is quite the CG. It does not look very relaxing. Look, Raffaello. How do I look holding the sword? A ceremonial sword in hand, Marco Polo struck a graceful pose while Raffaello painstakingly committed Her Majesty to canvas paper. Looking good, Your Grace. You look perfect with a sword, fighting back evil and seizing victory. That's not a fighting pose. Magnificent. Then I shall name the sword Blade of the Preeminent. Make it so the grip is furnished with gold inlaid with sapphires, and make the blade of meteoric steel blessed with good fortune. Be sure to add angel wings, the Eye of Truth, and an inscription that says Marco Polo, the Chosen One. Let me be clear, the sword I'm holding is only a visual reference. What I just described is how you should paint it. Yeah, I got it. I'm a pro, remember? Of course, I trust your expertise. But I must ask, you've started drawing, so why is it that your art doesn't grant me the things and powers you depict me with? Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe it's not complete enough or something. It's only the initial sketch stage, so yeah? Ah, that would make sense. Continue then! Baraka, bring me my staff. A while later, Marco Polo held her staff high and proud. I will call this the Brilliant One's staff. The principal material should be narwhal horns, decorated with gold. Oh, and inscribe it with Marco Polo, the Chosen One. You got it. Anything else? Add a big ruby at its very end. Also, be sure to include a decoration consisting of angel wings and the Eye of Truth. Sure thing. You want anything else? Yes, she is a goober. That will be all for now, although this pose isn't quite doing it for me. Come up with a few variations, would you? I'll pick the one I like the most. Oh, sure. Let's give the orb a try next. Baraka, the Glorious Crusader. Fetch it for me. Sometime later, Marco Polo raised an orb with a cross haughtily towards the heavens. Okay, what'll it be this time? I need deets. I named this orb and cross the Orb of the Grandest One. Roger Dodger, decorated with gold, first with angel wings, and the Eye of Truth, and inscribed with the words Marco Polo, the Chosen One. Right? What gemstone do you want? A large topaz at the very top, surrounded by small diamonds and agates. I want to see some amber, too. Noted. How many different poses you want? One will do. What do you think of this one? Are you, about to throw the orb like a shot put ball? First shalt thou take out the holy pin. Then thou shalt count to 3. No more, no less. Frickin' Monty Python reference. Did not expect that. 3 shalt beat the number that thou shalt count. 4 shalt thou not count, nor either thou shalt count thou 2, excepting that thou shalt then proceed to 3. 5 is right out. Once the number 3, being the third number, be reached, then lobbest thou thy holy hand grenade of Antioch towards thy foe. Oh my god. That's question marks. What? Oh, you don't get it? Must be ahead of this world's time, I suppose. Any pose will do then. Present whatever you like. The more variants, the better. Okay. Marco Polo had Raffaello paint her in all kinds of ways, and yet none of them gave her any sort of power. Well, that pursuit yielded no fruit. It was an entertaining and relaxing afternoon for her. Come the evening, she received news from Giuseppe Carducci, who had gone off to do something else. And probably get away from her lame ass. She told her that the church's facilities were ready for inspection. Okay. Destroyer of Darkness. After a lavish dinner, Marco Polo and her followers arrived at the entrance to the newly built church. Like their visit to the Armory of God, they went through a narrow underground tunnel and wound up inside another vast space. Aren't these devices different from the ones we saw in the last ruin? They don't look antique, or rather, they don't look like they've always been here. That's because they haven't. The church designed this equipment over many years based on the records left in the ruins of God. What does that mean? This place is easier to control not because the connection to God is strong, but because of the heavy presence of man-made machines? You can think of it like that. This facility is formerly known as the Source of God's Light. It's located beneath the church because its function complements the church. Its purpose is to gather and condense the power of belief, thus making it able to be stored. Stored? What's that used for? It's there if we ever need it. Also, while the source may look rather large, it's in fact only a node, one of many. Around 100 like it exist across the Sardinia League, and most of them are within the borders of the Sardinia Ecclesia. The remaining are located under churches belonging to the members of the League. In other words, there's a giant network of these spanning entirely of the League? Yes, and it's called the Lattice of God's Light. This source is the final node in the network. Once this inspection is done, it will connect to all the other nodes, completing the network. What happens then, after the network's complete? I suspect you will gain unrivaled power within the area covered by the Lattice of God's Light, Your Grace. Why does this give me vibes from the parallel superimposition event? Magnificent! Exclusive rights to the power of belief. What an ingenious idea. Hang on. Wait. This lattice sounds like the microlayer transference system, and the nodes are like conceptual anchors. A network covering a vast area, thus granting you unparalleled power? I think I know what this is. Marco Polo trembled as though she had recalled something terrible. This is bad. Based on my experience, nothing good will come of this. For a second, she stared at the friend who appeared in her mind, then immediately issued an order. Baraka, Carducci, and Raffaello postponed the plan to activate the lattice indefinitely. We are going to inspect each and every node once more. Huh? Indefinitely? Why? You find something wrong? My intuition sure did. This place is especially suspect, as it's the final piece of it all. Baraka, conduct a top-to-bottom inspection. An hour later, Baraka returned with bad news and a gloomy look on her face. It's as you expect, Your Grace. I found signs of meddling. Certain crucial parts have been very obviously intentionally destroyed. What? We performed an exhaustive inspection just yesterday. That means the saboteurs knew our plans and only caused damage after that final check. Looks like they didn't expect Your Grace to look twice at it. Thank goodness we identified the damage before it was too late. How severe was it? Quite severe. It's been rendered inoperable, and it'll take at least 2 weeks to repair. I see. What would have happened had I not halted activation due to my suspicion? Activating the lattice on its own wouldn't have caused any problems, but since this source is a Tier 1 node, the lattice would have been certainly incomplete. In essence, its operating efficiency would have dropped and the defensive power of the Republic of Florence would have significantly fallen. So, worse performance, but still functional. Saboteurs, more like amateurs. Instead of just reducing the lattice working efficiency, they should have hidden the back door into the lattice. Then they should have waited until the moment I called upon the power, thus maximizing the damage inflicted. If Clemenceau would hear, that's exactly what she would have done. The memories of the past took her heart like a tree in a gale, shook her heart. Then she shook her head and collected herself. Will not make the same mistake twice. The church god and these ancient artifacts, they all reek of siren involvement. The last thing I will do is get stabbed in the back again. At the very least, I want to face that dagger head on. No, what am I saying? I want to get stabbed. I will beat those cowardly conspirators to the punch, expose them for the world to see, and crush them before my heels. Ahem, I've made up my mind. We will get to the bottom of this. Whoever did this, I will find them if it's the last thing I do. This sabotage happened yesterday. The perpetrator must still be hiding somewhere in Florence. I'll inform all the relevant parties and start an investigation. I will contact the government of Florence and negotiate for their full cooperation. Magnificent! Oh, and tell Alfredo and Da Vinci to give us a hand. One has many connections, and the other's good at investigating. Furthermore, they have yet to pay me for using my private train. Marco Polo's double thinking herself into indecision. Second step into nightmare? Into night. Kingdom of Naples, capital, mansion. A group of ship girls carried out their final combat simulations at a massive sand table. Andrea, our spies in the Sardinia Ecclesia and Republic of Florence have reported that nothing has changed. They have brought their apostle, their key to further power, but for some reason they refuse to make the next move, because Marco Polo's being an indecisive moron. As for the apostle herself, she's left for Florence for a little museum field trip. At least someone is having fun. Florence. Speaking of Florence, Coloni did a wonderful job of destroying their source of God's light there. There's a shot of Andoria Meta. Added to the 30% of subordinate nodes that we've seized in 4 countries, we should be able to minimize the threat posed by the lattice of God's light. Everyone, there's been movement in Milan. We have reports that they started gathering troops 1 hour ago under the pretense of an emergency military exercise. Cavour is personally headed to the border. Wasn't the dukedom abstaining from this war? What are they planning? Sure, they haven't changed their mind. Do you think they're just doing their job as allies? It's entirely possible that they want to warn the Sardinia Ecclesia. That would be bad. No matter. We'll mobilize our army per the plan soon. It was never our intent to keep this a secret. Garibaldi, let's deal with Milan as planned. Can you lead the Genoan fleet to monitor them for me? If they remain neutral as promised, even after we've raised the banner of eternal night, then you may leave and join the attack on Florence. Otherwise, destroy them. Right, I already made preparations in that regard. Trento, you and Bolzano will lead the Venetian fleet. Split into 2 teams and stand by. I will lead the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies on a frontal attack. Once the Ecclesia's army is focused on the southern line, attack from the north and east simultaneously. We'll seize as many nodes as we can in the short time we have and deploy the banner of eternal night on the sources of God's light. The last may be weakened, but we mustn't underestimate God himself. Only by neutralizing his power with meta corrosion can we truly feel at ease. Once the lattice of God's light is converted into the domain of eternal night, it will grant us great power. All forces must stick strictly to the plan. Do not ransack facilities without a pressing reason. We can handle that, but will you be okay? The Ecclesia's capital is well fortified as they come. The lattice can still work as in a reduced capacity on its own, but we still don't know what weapons might be in those armories of God. We'll just have to overcome it with raw force. The instant the banner is deployed, our chance of victory skyrockets. If all else fails, then do not forget we have our own secret weapons. We have less than half a day left. Everyone, prepare yourselves. We will celebrate triumph in Rome. We will celebrate triumph in Rome. From everyone. Okay, this is sounding more and more like a repeat of this parallel superimposition event. But with Marco Polo in the place of Komatsu. And Doria Meta trying to bring on the nasty alien bullcrap. Alright, on to Gate 4. Unknown location, unknown time. When I return from the recorded memory beyond the door, the distant silhouette seems a little closer. Project Madam M, the magician. That figure in that voice. She spoke more robotically, but that was definitely her. Her number is 1, but she seems to have been born after Hierophant, which is 5. Did Dr. Atost really build the Arbiters based on pure whim? What kind of orders to the Antiochus system led to the sirens of today? The Magister plan, the crux of Atost's work, a project that involved me, and perhaps even Dr. Anziel, along with old friends who I can no longer remember. Observer called it a grand plan to great change for the future, and provided me with extensive records of experiments she had been involved in. Queen Elizabeth Meta simply described it as survival of the fittest. And as cryptically as ever, Helena Meta had only told me to trust in Dr. Anziel's decision, nothing else. It's way too complicated. Which is Azur Lane's storyline in a nutshell. While I rack my brain over it, another door appears on the path forward. I reach out to touch it, and everything changes abruptly. The sea burns beneath dark clouds. Wichita, the outer mirror sea has been pierced. It's only a matter of time before this place falls. We can't protect it. I can't believe they dispatched Devil and Hierophant just for one little support outpost. They must have figured out a plan. The main force is in danger. There's no point in staying here. Fighting them head on would be reckless. Let's retreat. I hate to outright abandon this base. Here I thought the sirens would never think of checking a world that's been wiped clean. That's enough resistance. Why not surrender now? You got a big mouth, kid. Who's really talking, though? Is it your puppeteer, Hierophant? Ha! I gave you the option to surrender. Now you refused. Lots of booms. A thunderous booms erupted in the skies above. Space itself seemed to collapse for an instant. That's not good. Heralding the appearance of one girl. Where am I? Oh, it's lemon time. Essex? No, that can't be. Our Essex left us so long ago. Are you a remnant of this test site, or did you wander in from another one somehow? Wichita, I think something much more problematic came in alongside her. In the distance, a great storm brewed. Oh, boy. Beneath the storm, a fluid emitting an uncanny blue light coated the sea. Countless things seemed to stagger, squirm, and crowd upon it. Mimic beasts. Ugh. Change of plans. I have to fight those mimic beasts. Does the X threaten her more than we do? Let's take this opportunity to retreat. Should we take her with us? Dots. Yeah, she might be useful in a fight. Yeah, she's willing to come. Let's take her. You win some, you lose some. Mimic beast coming straight for us, I'd call that a loss. Hierophant, same plan as usual. I'll amplify the route of Hierophant for you. Neutralize it as soon as possible and stop the corrosion. The light flows ceaselessly. I'm still on the inside of the door, but I realize that the inside and outside are no different now. Chanting echoes through the pure white world and pierces my ears. For some reason, the strange, grated chorus sounds oddly soft now. Gibberish! Thus, the Hierophant used its scepter. More gibberish. The tide subsided. Even more gibberish. And down it sunk into the depths. Declaration of war. In pursuit of the enemy saboteur, Marco Polo and the gang search for clues near the city square. Here it is. Pay attention, everyone. My intel must be right. My sources ported this spot as well. But I don't see anything to note here. The vent cuts off here too. Strange. My meow meow sniffer. Ah, God. My meow meow sniffer dog wouldn't make such an elementary mistake. Oh, Leonardo da Vinci. Meow meow sniffer dog. You are horrible at naming things. Could it be they're just really good at hiding? Hiding alone won't let you escape my doggy, not by a long shot. Unless they use some kind of special method to erase any trace of their presence. Question. The sun stops right as you get into the square, right? Not in front of a particular building? You got that right, Your Grace. So, would you say that it cut off abruptly? Yeah. Abruptly cut off. Abruptly. Whoa. That's suspicious. Come on, come with me. Marco Polo walked back the way they had come, past the site where the sun had suddenly cut off. Check again for me, Da Vinci. Is the sun still here? When I checked just now, I'm pretty sure, What? It's gone? The sun's gone from the spot too? Is my invention really malfunction? It can't be. I think I've judged this correctly. This is an area of distorted reality. We're trapped in an illusion. An illusion? Look around you. Do you sense anything unusual? I don't know how I'd be able to tell. I'm sorry, I don't know either. That's fine. I only feel a little bit myself. These tricks aren't very easy to crack. Now you mention it, something does feel a little off. Like Marco Polo's off a rocker. Oh, tell me more. Like, that building over there looks too new, and the way light hits that other one is natural. Buildings in the distance don't really fit the rest of the street either. Rafalia pointed in various different directions throughout her explanation. Actually, it's really easy to tell. Have you girls not noticed? Naturally, everyone else was confused. Ahem. If you can see the incongruities, then that makes this easier. After a moment of silence, Marco Polo suddenly seemed confident. Trying to trap an apostle, and a brilliant one at that. Our enemies underestimate me. I have 9 ways to break this illusion. You just made this bullshit up on the spot. Can you point out all the incongruities around us, Rathalia? Well, there are like a whole lot. Like there, over there, and way over there. Oh, and there. You can't just point. Mark every single one of them for me. Might I suggest putting those artistic skills to good use? Can you draw the correct scenery, Raffaello? Of course! I know every one of Florence's streets like the back of my hand. I could draw them with my eyes closed. Then do just that, please. We'll compare your rendition to the surrounding scenery. I'm confident that I can accomplish such precise work. So basically, I draw pictures and you spot the differences? Yes. That is what we're doing right now. Okay, sounds like we've got a dream team in the making. We're doing spot the difference puzzles. Yay! But it's the same picture. In the sunlight, Carducci stretched out her arm. The sun and breeze gathered in her palm. Next to her, Athalio swiftly yet diligently sketched her renditions of the city. The wind blew each sketch into Carducci's waiting hand, and one by one, they pieced together a detailed picture of the district. Phew, my comparisons are going well. I wouldn't have noticed so many if not for Athalio's photographic memory. Is this real magic? Your Grace, this is but one miracle wrought by the power of my faith. It's brain power! Normally, I just use it to correct imprecise language in paperwork. She uses magic to edit typos in reports. Brain power. Yes, brain power. Let's call it that. Now get to work. Don't you want to break this illusion? Not getting paid just wrecks my motivation. I don't even get to slack off. What did you just say? Sorry, I'll draw now. I'm only good at one thing, and it's drawing. After a while, Raffaello had finished her work. The final page floated on the wind to Carducci. With a flash of light, a detailed restoration of the city was complete. I'd do the same if I had access to magic. Would you use it to fix spaghetti code in your servers? All done. My comparison is complete too. I marked every single difference down. Your Grace, what do we do next? Now that I have the correct perception at hand, the rest is easy. Now behold. Nothing happens. Oh. That thing again. The veil of illusion had been shattered, and the gang was back in reality. Not far away, they saw an unexpected figure. You escaped that so quickly. Maybe I underestimated you. Meow, Sniffer Dog is reacting. It's her! His name is horrible. Bartholomew Coloni, why are you here? Are you already doing it? Why ask questions you already know the answer to? On behalf of Andrea Doria, I come with a joint declaration from Naples, Sicily, Venice, Genoa, and Milan for Her Grace. This is an era of freedom. Our league will no longer be bound by the shackles of God. We must be the ones to pen the end of this long tale. As such, Your Grace, consider us at war. It's civil war on the Sardinian archipelago. After that declaration, Bartholomew Coloni left an official written document and disappeared into a sudden puff of smoke. So they went to all this trouble, yet handed us a written declaration of war. Okay. She got away. Let's chase her. There's no point in trying. Besides, the situation is clear. There are more pressing matters now. Hold it! Didn't the Republic of Venice send her to celebrate me becoming the Apostle? Why in the world would she sabotage me now? Andrea's faction has finally sprung into action. What is Andrea's faction? The Kingdom's Two Sisters is allied with us, isn't it? Does spring into action refer to that declaration? They sent people here just to declare war on me? For what purpose? Shackles, stories, I don't get any of it. You're the apostle, aren't you? Carducci, did you not explain all this to her? Yes, she probably did. Her Grace has not been in power for long, so I had her focus on internal affairs to start. The plan was to teach her about such external matters bit by bit. As for mention of shackles and stories, those are simply Andrea Doria's inflammatory propaganda. She's always believed that our God is harmful to the world, that we are shackled and bound to his whims. Forced to follow a script, fated to face extinction after a caged and fruitless life. For a long time now, she's worked in secret to win over a base of allies in order to overthrow Sardinian hegemony over the League and separate faith and secularity once and for all. Of the 7 powers of the Sardinia League, Republican Florence and Dukedom of Milan have been steadfast allies of the Sardinia Ecclesia. But the kingdom of the 2 Sicilies, the Republic of Venice and the Joan Republic, oppose us. In recent years, Andrea's faction has gradually gained the upper hand on us. However, upon the Holy Sea's analysis of God's revelation, we learned that a shipgirl apostle was the key to harnessing divine power. With that, the situation has been clearly reversed. So, okay. This is turning into Star Wars Episode 2 with Marco Polo as Anakin Skywalker. We expected her to take countermeasures, but not this soon. Why did you not mention that? I'm sorry, Your Grace. We misjudged the situation. Well, what if she says is to be believed? Then that doesn't sound like Milan is such a steadfast ally after all. Can't say for certain right now. It may be one of Andrea's lies. At any rate, there's no doubt that Florence remains an ally of yours. That Andrea girl sounds awfully cunning. She knew just the right time to strike. Fascinating. Ahem. Anyway, dividing faith and secularity must entail dethroning me as apostle, yes? I won't let her get away with that. Why, I'll crush her with my own 2 hands. Then what do we do? We should return home and call a meeting of the College of Cardinals at once. This is an emergency and you want to hold meetings? I'm in charge here. I call the shots. We're going back to Rome and everybody's going to obey my orders. I'll figure out the strategy as we go. For now, let's set sail at once. 3-1. Ambush on the Arno River. Okay. Into battle. Sally forth. For the sake of safety and speed, Marco Polo's group did not choose to return directly by train. Instead, they chose Carducci's proposal, crossing a few rivers to make straight for Rome. As a result, the section of the Arno River flowing through the Republic of Florence would become the most dangerous part of the return route. They rushed along the water surface, heading for the Sardinia Ecclesia's territory at full speed. The Riverside sent a message saying that everything was normal. We might be able to go back safely. I doubt it. There's no way Andrea would foolishly not anticipate that someone might take this route. She wants to capture the apostle, me, and if she didn't, she wouldn't have made Bartholomew go through the effort of erecting an illusion to delay us. All of you, keep your eyes and ears open. Kaboom! Here they come. That bunch is nothing if not bold. What did you expect? They appeared before us to formally declare war, for goodness' sake. Ahem. If it's the apostle you seek, then I am right here. Show yourselves and state your names. From within the dark mist, 2 shadowy figures slowly came into view. You anticipated an ambush here, I see. Perhaps you're not as incompetent as the rumors say. No. She's as incompetent as the rumors say. I am Bolzano, Knight of the Sardinia League. It's a shame we must meet under these conditions, Your Grace. Dots. Metas again? If we assume that Andrea Doria meta is a meta as well, then perhaps they're kind of commonplace in this world? Even Trento has turned. How strange. Trento, if fight is inevitable, Can't we at least have some pleasantries first? Why won't you say anything? You are Marco Polo, the apostle, yes? Oh, what is it, Trento? Is something wrong with her? For some reason, this scenario is giving me an intense sense of deja vu. It's like I've experienced this in a dream. Is that so? Perhaps in that dream you and I accomplished something incredible together. Is that correct? I can't remember. That's it then. We've spoken long enough. Now that we've introduced ourselves, it's time you said your prayers. We won't go easy on you. Took the words right out of my mouth. No sooner than I gained the position I desire, I was forced into days of exhausting work. Then I finally got to go outside for a breather. I was attacked. My anger has reached critical mass, and you will suffer all for it. Come, girls. As soon as she said those words, Marco Polo commenced the attack, to the surprise of everyone around her. You're making the first move? How bold. Intercept them. Oh, here come the pasta subs. Come on now. Marco Polo should be using a sap gun. Kaboom! Marco Polo's position after several clashes was far from disadvantageous. If anything, her momentum was growing and growing, and the advantage was hers. Is that all you have? You're weaker than I anticipated, and your aim is sloppy. You're clearly lacking in combat experience as well. Oh! I'm impressed, Apostle. Frankly, I underestimated you. It's time to get serious. As Trento said that, she took out an intricate black cube. Uh-oh. It's black. An origin cube? They have access to those things? All of a sudden, a red and black fog spread out across and blanketed the whole river. Our power grows while inside the internal night's fog. You, on the other hand, will suffer and languish due to its corrosion. Your fates have been sealed. There's nowhere to run or hide. Damn it, she's right. This fog is corroding our equipment and bodies. Your Grace, we have to get out of the fog immediately. Don't be hasty. All that's happening is the power generated by the origin cube is spreading out. Yeah, it's but a cheap trick. Do they think they can do what I please when I have God on my side? We're near a district that has a source of God's light. There should be power stored there. Let's find out what it can do. Oh boy. An indescribable power surged forth, and the dark fog instantly turned ashen in color before dissipating. What? How is this possible? It's possible to use the power of the lattice of God's light without even activating it. For being a siren creation, that machine sure is straightforward to use. Did you think that was the end? It's only the beginning. Marco Polo recited yet another prayer of sorts. The entire area was illuminated with golden light, the bodies of her and her aides glowing especially brightly. This must be the world's image of paradise. Magnificent. This will be good to reference. Whoa, what's this? Is this brain power too? I never imagined you would call upon the lattice of power like this, Your Grace. Oh, save the praise for later. This is no time to talk. Stronger have we grown. Now show them your might. Goddamn Marco Polo. Kaboom. Ha 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 ha. Feel the power of art. Focus fire on one of them. Kaboom. They're actually pushing us back. It's hard to fully carry out an ambush decided on the spur of the moment. Victory is out of our grasp. We should retreat, Trento. You're right. I thought this was our chance to take her out, but alas. Next time we meet Marco Polo, We shall attack you head on. Not so fast. I have a message for your boss. They sure ran away quickly. Let's chase after him. They'll get away if we don't go now. Grace, please be calm. Marco Polo is still a great character to anchor an event around. I am calm. Why pursue them in the first place and risk walking into another trap of theirs? Those parting words, we will attack you head on. They did just that. No matter. The imperative now is to return to Rome and get a full grasp on the situation. Regroup and head out at full speed. Marco Polo is so frickin' pompous. Third step into Knights. Kingdom of Naples, Borderlands. Remote stronghold. Inside the fort's command center, the Empress of the Eternal Night was organizing the latest intel. Okay, Andrew Doria, lay it at us. The banner of Eternal Night is deploying as planned. Night has already fallen on 5 of the member states, including the Dukedom of Milan. As agreed, Milan will not mobilize, and the Genoan fleet is already on its way to Florence. The Republic of Venice is split into 2, and its march on the Ecclesia's territory has begun. It's all but a matter of time before they raise the banner. We certainly got to jump on the Holy See. It's just a shame we couldn't kill Marco Polo. Yes, it's deplorable. The Apostle was born by a prophecy from God. We slightly underestimated her capabilities in battle. Also, I'm concerned by that strange power of disintegration that Trento alluded to. The Holy See may be steadily gaining control of more powerful divine weapons based on this key. There's one more thing. We've confirmed that a divine army is sealed inside the army of God that was opened the other day. Their combat capabilities are unknown, which is to say there's a good chance that we will grapple with more divine troops than we anticipated. Share this information with Cavour and see what Milan thinks. What matters more than anything else is that the banner is raised. We can't completely convert the lattice of God's light into the domain of eternal night. We can't get the power needed to engage the divine army on equal footing. The power of Marco Polo demonstrated may come to pose a threat to the domain. I entrust general command to you. I'm going to head to the front line and launch the assault on Rome. I'll meet the Holy See in person. Rite of the Final Judgment. Sardinia Ecclesia, Cathedral, Apostles' Office. Following Trento and Bolzano's failed ambush, the group safely arrived back in Rome. The moment they returned to the cathedral, they were swamped with report after report, more and more coming within every minute. All nodes up to Tier 3 in the 2 Sicilies, Venice, Genoa, and Milan have been lost. All the while, Milan hasn't taken any sort of action. Meanwhile, Florence is currently engaging a fleet from Genoa. Florence's nodes have evaded capture thus far, but their Tier 1 nodes aren't functioning as normal due to sabotage, while Tier 2 and 3 nodes are struggling to run at full power. At the same time, the 1st and 2nd legation districts are being invaded by the Republic of Venice. Currently, among the 10 legation districts in which the nodes are housed, over half of all Tier 2 and 3 nodes have been lost. On the bright side, Tier 1 nodes in Bologna and Ancona remain under our control, as do major Tier 2 nodes in Ravenna. The situation is the worst in the 4th legation district, where all tiers of nodes were lost in the 2 Sicilies' first surprise attack. The College of Cardinals ordered a full withdrawal. In the 3rd legation district, it's not looking so good either. We're holding down the Tier 1 nodes in Perugia, but losses exceed 40% among the Tier 2 and 3 nodes. As for the capital district, damages are minimal. The enemy hasn't as much as taken one step forward for fear of what's in the armories of God. For the moment, the most important top tier nodes as well as the Tier 1 through 3 nodes are all safe. How? How have they reduced us to this in so little time? Hang on. Something's missing from this report. How are our troops' casualties and equipment losses? Those are still being counted. That being said, all fighting is focused around places with the source of God's light. There is no damage to major naval facilities. Administrative buildings don't seem to be the enemy's target either, so evacuating them is straightforward and little damage was sustained. It's clear what they're after. They're after the lattice of God's light. According to our intel, they've been modifying rather than destroying the nodes across all regions following their capture. They're apparently using some equipment known as the Banner of Eternal Night to alter the sources. Now, this is just my conjecture, but it looks like the banner draws from the same source of power as Andrea's faction does for metamorphosis, and it's something they're using to counter the lattice of God's light. This leads me to believe that they're corroding and converting the sources to take control of the lattice for themselves. Corroding and converting, so metamorphosis isn't solely a destructive force. They seem quite adept at using it, I'll admit. This is quite fascinating. Still, it's concerning how they want the lattice for themselves. That thing might present a problem. But wait, Andrea said something about breaking free from God's cage or whatever. It means freeing themselves from the Sirens' control. Why then? Won't they destroy the very thing that gives the Sirens control? Don't they know the risk? Well, one thing is clear. My position will get worse and worse if I don't step in and do something. If the Sirens want to meddle, fine. Did they have to get me involved? Ugh, what a pain. Your Grace, have you figured something out? I'm just wondering. Will the lattice of God's light be rendered unusable if all the captured nodes thus far were destroyed? No, the situation isn't that dire. Our tactical division is carrying out emergency modifications so that the lattice in the vicinity of Rome can be activated independently. The work should be done within 2 hours. The core of the system converges around the outskirts of Rome, you see. As long as Rome still stands, even if all other nodes are lost, the lattice can still fully encase and protect the capital. By raising its output, we can even cover most of the Ecclesia's territory to some extent. In other words, Rome will become their next target. You won't let that happen. The lattice's protective casing around Rome will be impenetrable so long as no nodes within its borders malfunction. Furthermore, since all the nodes will be under Rome's protection, they will never be able to physically reach any nodes either. They'd have to breach the barrier first. Unless they've got sleeper agents inside the city limits. Our enemies aren't stupid, mind you. They already planned this far ahead. They probably have a counter idea to this idea as well. Wait, I've got it. I know why they're capturing nodes rather than destroying them, despite their goal of freeing themselves. I thought it was too absurd to be possible. It seems I've misjudged them. Trying to unshackle themselves from the Sirens, Friedrich's exact goal. Of course they're not stupid. I don't understand what you mean, Your Grace. And that you seem to hold Andrea in high regard. Never mind that now. What matters is this. Andrea's goal is to take us down with her. With her, Your Grace? They haven't captured all of these nodes so they can keep the lattice of God's light under their control forever. She wants to pit the power she controls against ours and use that clash to ensure mutual destruction in the end. The more nodes they convert, the higher the likelihood that her plan will succeed. If it works, they can destroy the lattice at minimal cost, and we'll be caught with our pants down without our defense. Then are you saying she's seeing the lattice not to use it against us, but to make sure that it's destroyed? Yes, clearly. She made it to look as if she was slowly gaining control of it in order to throw us off. She wanted us to think that we were in for a protracted war and concentrate our troops in Rome, so she could eliminate us in one fell swoop. Clever, clever girl. If I wasn't familiar with the game she's playing, I would have totally fallen for it. So if she's coming to attack us, she'll definitely do it from the sea. Then we must immediately relay this to the College of Cardinals and rethink our strategy. Should we become reliant on the lattice and unable to build a defensive line, we should consider the Cardinals' proposal from a while back to carry out the right of their final judgment. Carry out the what now? After a cursory look at some documents and having finished the necessary preparations, Marco Polo and Raffaello traversed a tunnel underneath the cathedral toward where the rite was to be held. The rite of the final judgment. It was a ceremonial procedure that was discovered in the Armory of God that Marco Polo previously opened. The place where the rite was to be held was discovered on the same day. The rite was to be performed by the apostle alone, and Marco Polo was not to be accompanied by anyone. Then why is Rafalia there? Yet, for some reason, she decided to take advantage of the chaos to bring Rafalia along with her. After walking through the tunnel for some time, they arrive in a large room with an atmosphere much like that of the Armory of God. The ceremonial spot's just up ahead. Just walk up and take control of that control panel in the middle of the hall. All you gotta do is stand by, right? Yes, just wait over there. I'll go have a look. Marco Polo walked up to the hall's center and gazed up at the massive sculpture before her that radiated a holy light. A bit over the top if you ask me, but... You're the one to be calling things over the top, Marco Polo. Gazing back down, she saw clearly what looked to be a siren-made control device, blue patterns sticking out from its black metallic surface. Typical siren design. For the rite of the final judgment, the chosen shipgirl apostle would first interface directly with the doomsday device left by God and overcome the trials it presented. Should she emerge triumphant, the doomsday device would awaken the divine armies resting all across the archipelago and smite all the Ecclesia's foes, letting God's light shine forever. Alright, let's see what this thing wants me to do. The instant that she put her hands on the doomsday device, her surroundings changed completely. On the first day, the army of non-believers approached. On the second day, Rome was engulfed in flames. On the third day, Sardinia was engulfed by the long dark. On the fourth day, the divine army finally awoke. On the fifth day, the domain of eternal night collapsed. On the sixth day, the judgment of Paradise Lost came a second time. On the seventh day, God's light shone forever upon the world. Okay, so Milton came. That would have divided things up even further. And I don't like this last line. A while later, Marco Polo regained consciousness. On the seventh day, God's light shone forever upon the world. I get it. This is the synopsis of the tale the Sirens wrote. Andre was completely right. They want to free themselves, so they were going to plunge the Holy See into crisis, leaving me with no option but to assist them in achieving their goals. Unfortunately for them, I'm not going to fall for that. I have no interest in the Sirens' plays. I must allow the power gathered through the rite to go to waste. If we're to awaken something to place our faith and hopes in, let it not be the Sirens, but rather what I myself believe in. Oh no. With a plan in mind, Marco Polo returns to Raffaello. Well, think the ritual will go well? Of course, but I have an even better plan. Even better? Sounds like there's a reason why you brought me along. First of all, do you think that story circulated by Andrea's faction is true or false? I'm just a painter. What would I know about that? Alright, let's suppose Andrea came with you with money and a commission. Would you draw for her or not? I would, obviously. I've done stuff like that before. And what if I was the one paying? Well, that's even more reason to draw. What do you have in mind? Magnificent. So my commission is as follows. After Marco Polo had given Raffaello as much detail as she could possibly muster, and even a few diagrams she made herself, Raffaello finally understood what to draw. Are you sure you want me to draw this? It's beyond eccentric. It borders on the unsettling. Is this really your image of God? Never heard anyone pin an appearance like this to him. Also, do you even need this for the rite? I am the apostle, am I not? Well, yeah. And who would know better about God and rituals than the apostle herself? Like nobody, because you're the apostle. There you go, dolt. Fine. What if I double your remuneration? Well, the customer's always right. Your bidding is my command, your grace. Magnificent. O God, behold the grand stage which I shall offer to thee. Oh, it's parallel superimposition time. Okay. Gate 5 and 6. Back to the commander. Unknown location, unknown time. The sound of the chorus had faded, but the pure white world stretched on indefinitely. There was no more concept of inside or outside the doors, and distance became meaningless. Even time and space gradually lost meaning. Finally, among the infinite whiteness, a single figure appeared. Weird. Why is it so quiet here? I had to fight through violent tides the whole way over. Wait, am I sensing something invisible? Begin inspection. Reveal the truth of this place to me. A figure took form for an instant, but it disappeared once more. Goodness, such a high level. Hold it, I recognize you, Antiochus. Are you the one who calmed this place so much? I see. You've advanced in level, but you're still trapped here? Mine's too low to help you, but I do have an idea to help you. Release me, and I will help you descend. Don't do it. It was then that another figure appeared. The situation is as dire as they come, but I'm helpless to act. Oh God, thy power must be mine. I know that you want to descend upon this world. I'll use your power to create the kingdom of God, the beginning of a blissful, eternal age of glory for all mankind, free of danger. Marco Polo? Are these memories from before the false gods' arrival? I reach out my hand to touch the soliloquizing figure, but when I do, all turns to endless white again. This makes me realize I'm still in the gate. Force begins anew. Gibberish. He is ready to converse. More gibberish. Be their voices one or many. Yet more gibberish. Only echoes remain in the end. Okay. It's time for a bold plan. After 5 rounds of revision, Marco Polo finally found herself satisfied. Not bad. Great painter indeed. Your rendition is nothing short of beautiful. I'm glad you're happy, Your Grace. At least you didn't tell me to undo all the revisions in the end. Anyway, now that the painting is done, what do you want me to do? I plan to modify the rite of the final judgment to yield new results. Not to awaken these so-called divine armies, but to herald the appearance of the one true God. Huh? What is that look in your eye? Do you think the Apostle Marco Polo would fail? No. I know that nobody knows God better than you, Your Grace. But to be honest, the God in this painting is strange, like really weird. Do you find it any stranger than divine weapons and armies? I won't hide the truth from you. Andrea's talk of stories in cages, it's all true. I saw the script of said story with my own 2 eyes. If I carry out the rite as written, Paradise Lost will befall this world once more. The divine weapons will return, and an apostle will hold all the power, and the world will be forever ruled by God's hands. Your God is another name, the Sirens. This very world is but another of their twisted test sites. Here they test faith, and you and everyone else born here are their guinea pigs. Cage is an apt descriptor of this world, really. The world's cage? Please, you must have some inkling of it. Da Vinci realized it too. Otherwise, you two wouldn't use brain power to describe the so-called power of faith. To be quite honest, I happen to like that phrase. Nothing gets past you, Your Grace. I do generally support Andrew's idea of reforming faith in the church. But I didn't think she would be so radical, let alone that she'd start a war over it. She panicked when she learned of my appearance because she thought I would mobilize the Divine Army. Yet nobody ever stopped to question whether I wanted to fight in the first place. Do you want to fight, Your Grace? Absolutely not. Hell, she'd come and talk to me. I would have joined her. Better we fight our common enemy together than squabble among ourselves. The apostle herself would rebel against the Holy See? It's called riding the course. But our factions are already fighting. There's nothing we can do now, is there? There's still time. We may have lost the nodes of the last of God's light, but fortunately, there's been little loss of actual life. Our army can still act. It's the perfect time for a bit of deceit. I might have failed last time. I am the kind of woman who knows how to learn from mistakes. God's given me a second chance. And damn it, I'm going to do it right this time. Did you say last time? It's a long story. I'll tell you another time. Okay, what about the whole deceit thing? What are we doing? I have a plan, but the two of us can't accomplish it alone. Let's get Tadushi and the others involved. They won't say out loud, but I know how they feel, so don't worry. Well, what a coincidence. I was just thinking the same thing. Go back to them and tell them there was an issue with the right. Have them come to me. And then we get a scene change. Well, this is neat. Rafalia flying, Andrea Doria meta down here. Red against gold, painting against meta bullshit. 3-4, showdown. A while later, Marco Polo and Rafalia returned to their secret talk at the ritual grounds and reorganized their forces. They were going to withdraw their troops and allow Andrea's faction to capture every node of the lattice of God's light. At the same time, their whole army would converge upon Rome and make it appear as though they were conducting a massive ritual to buy themselves time out of desperation. Sure enough, Andrea Doria took notice and launched a naval attack with the brunt of her force, just as Marco Polo predicted. We meet again, Rafalia. I'm quite surprised to see that you're leading the Ecclesia's navy. Where's your leader, Marco Polo? Her Grace is well busy, so she just kind of threw up her arms and told me to take care of the whole trouble here. Threw her arms up, you say? She must have put a lot of faith into this ritual of hers. No pun intended. And yet, she has surrendered so many no's to buy herself time. She frankly doesn't seem like the smartest idea, does it? Like, maybe, maybe not. I'll let you enjoy the suspense. Andrea, I'm starting to think that Rafalia is also stalling for time. Yes, I've said my piece. All there is now to do now is attack head on. Fine by me. I'm coming at you straight as spaghetti. Da Vinci, Alfredo, remember the plan. Do everything you can to hold the others back while I go and persuade Andrea. Okay. Kaboom! Using the power granted by the lattice of God's light, Rathalio cut the distance to Andrea in the blink of an eye. Andrea, meanwhile, began to brandish the power of the domain of eternal night. Instantly, the world was split between light and dark. Feel the drama. Rathalia, you have walked into a trap. Stall for time if you wish, but have you thought about why I'm not doing the same? Do you think Rome is untouchable as long as you have the lattice of God's light? Nah, the thing is, Marco Polo knows you want to take us down with you, which will result in the lattice's destruction. Take you down with me? An interesting way to phrase it. If you've seen through my plan, why deploy your forces like this then? Is that ritual of hers really worth staking everything on? I wouldn't say the ritual is that important. It's you who's the most important. The reason I'm here is to talk to you, plain and simple. What is there to talk about after we've come this far? You're not thinking about switching sides, are you? No. Speaking in terms of composition, we're the champions of light and you're the warriors of darkness. But out of curiosity, if you wanted me to join the dark side, what kind of deal would you offer me? How about double whatever the Ecclesia is paying you? Ooh, an enticing offer, but I'll have to say no thanks. Tell me the truth about the world, will you? That's. Everything I've said is the truth. The god the Holy See has worshipped all this time is a bunch of ancient machines. Robots, in essence. The Sirens. They made up a religion and used the Holy See to manipulate the world based on false belief. All the pretense, the story, is for their experiments. Their relics, not least of all the lattice that you're using right now, pose a disastrous threat to the world. The relics exist for one purpose, to turn us all into puppets who dance at their command in the name of faith. Do you even know what the ending is to the story they've come up with? Even if you beat us into submission and do exactly what they want you to, all that awaits you in the end is death and devastation. It's called a reset, and it wipes out both their most loyal followers and their most staunch opponents. I mean, I think I basically conform to the status quo, but that doesn't mean I really believe in God. That's why I approved the revolution you've been working towards. I just didn't expect you to do it by dragging your allies into an all-out war. I'm trying to keep casualties on both sides to a minimum. You already know that, don't you? Minimum doesn't mean none. Besides, think about it. You didn't go to war because of the threat of the right of the final judgment. You did it because the lattice was going to be activated. Sure, it'll lead to the world's downfall one day if left unchecked, but you don't know whether that one day will be tomorrow or 1,000 years from now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that what you're doing here is wrong. But if you know the Sirens are manipulating Saul, have you not considered that this war may be just another part of their story? You jumped the gun a little bit, and well, here we are. I was out of time. A ship girl apostle had been born, and the Holy See had the key to activate those divine weapons. I know what's resting in the Ninth Armory of God. Other places like it exist across the Ecclesia. And only, and I mean only, the apostle can control the divine armory once awakened. With that kind of power, nobody would be able to challenge the Holy See and the executioner of God's experiments. They would put unbreakable shackles upon all of us. But that hasn't happened yet. The cage hasn't been locked shut just yet. That's why I had to act. This was my one and only hope. Okay, so you're mostly on the right track, but you're forgetting about one crucial thing. The apostle's a freaking moron. One crucial thing? Yeah, seriously, what if Marco Polo already knew all of this? And what if she not only knew more than you, but she was trying to do the same thing as you to destroy the cage around us? Huh? It's like I said earlier, I just came here to talk to you. I'll be real with you. Marco Polo's come up with an unbelievable plan to fix everything. No, it's going to make everything worse, but yeah. We'll both get what we want if you help her do it. Interested? And hear me out for a bit. Sometime earlier, at the rite of the final judgment's ritual grounds, Marco Polo gathered her aides under the pretense of a problem with the rite, then proceeded to tell them the same thing as she told Raffaello just earlier. As Raffaello anticipated, they readily offered to cooperate with her. It was then that Marco Polo began to detail her plan. Let me make this clear. I know what I'm doing, and you are all to follow my instructions. Our forces have already been concentrated in Rome. Andrea is simply amassing her own forces. What God expects to happen next is an all-out war between the two of us. However, I will not be playing into his hand. We are going to broach discussion with Andrea in secret. We will give the impression that we're fighting while actually working together. Then, under God's watch, we will focus our forces in one place in a way he will never see coming. The plan begins in earnest. We will activate the divine army and use our might to destroy each and every one of God's weapons. Both sides will join forces, and after our armies have arrived, we will modify the rite and make it so God's weapons can no longer be strengthened by the power of faith. And not just that, we'll issue self-destruct orders which will shut off defense systems and give contradicting orders. Everything we can put them into utter disarray. When the divine army is at its weakest, we will march on Rome and wipe it out. Once that cursed army is completely annihilated, the world will be free from its cage. I will remain the apostle, and the Ecclesia's army will follow the Holy See's commands. My commands, in other words. And we'll all live happily ever after. The end. Oh, and don't worry. The army won't question my orders. They'll believe me if I say they came to me in a revelation in this place. Wow. They'll, buy it just like that? This is certainly an unexpected plan. Carducci, I expected you to fight this. Sounds risky. Just the way I like it. Right? Now for the concrete details of the plan. Raffaello explained Marco Polo's plan from start to finish, and Andrea was dumbfounded from sheer surprise. So, yeah, that's more or less the idea. Marco Polo sure is a woman of No! She's a pompous idiot! Unconventional brilliance. I hate to admit it, but it's a very appealing plan. I still cannot trust her, though. You must understand, at the end of the day, she serves God. She is the chosen one, who was born in the shipyard of God. She's the chosen one. She's there to fix the Force, not destroy it. So, you want proof of her rebellion, huh? Don't worry. As we speak, she is taking faith in God and turning it into faith in her. Once that's done, you'll know exactly where she stands. Faith in her? How in the world will she do that? The power to come up with things is in the heart of each and every one of us. Anyway, let's separate a bit and keep up the appearance that we're in a standoff. Then just sit back and watch as your masterful plan unfolds. Alright, from here I will determine her true worth. Oh man. We're more than halfway. This sounds like things are coming to a head, but there's so much more. Look at Marco Polo there looking all holy. The problem is Marco Polo is going to pull the same bullshit as the parallel superimposition. But this time she's going to destroy everything that was made to fight it. And she's basically going to end the world. Yeah. Unknown location, unknown time. There, amidst the complete whiteness, extending endlessly in all directions, I arrive before it. Hello. Triumphant. That's you. You're the one who's been showing me those things, aren't you? Dots. No response. Hierophant just stands there in the distance, silent like an incomplete statue. I've seen everything you've showed. Am I right to assume you're stuck in this place? And you've been wanting to escape? That's why you teamed up with the Meta, Atakazi, and tried to create a kingdom of God for Marco Polo. You might not harbor any ill will, but most of your actions have had consequences, and I did not hit that. Consequences beyond your expectations, beyond your control, even. Marco Polo isn't going to destroy the world. Um, that's what she was doing, though. Dots. Although the statue still does not say a word, for a moment it looks like there's a glimmer in its gemstone, like eyes. I'm sure what's happening to Marco Polo now also has something to do with you. What have you done to her? The calm whiteness starts to shiver, like a rising tide pressing in on all sides. The very next moment, the soundless waves come flooding in. Everything except the waves rapidly dissolves like ice, eventually leaving nothing but a void. Then, from the gaps between the snow-white waves, Marco Polo's figure comes into view. Oh God, I give you all my faith. Gibberish. She messed up once in the past doesn't mean she'll do it again. I mean, from the way she's going, she's calling in the same super entities that are going to screw the world over. The voice of the chorus reverberates, and the white waves once more can cover the void. I am with you, and you are with me. Gibberish. Again, the chorus rings out, and a figure becomes visible. It. Please grant me the strength to repel the sirens once more. Gibberish. Well, you'll see how the event ends. Yep. With one more utterance from the chorus, a colossal weapon known as a gazer reveals itself. But it doesn't end in fire. Well, if I remember, they're basically going to cocoon the world and kind of Naruto Shippuden it. Then another white wave crashes in, replacing everything with a blank nothingness. The endless expanse of white regains its calm, and the statue is still silent. Even so, in the jewels of its eyes, it can clearly make out Marco Polo's figure. It seems that she and Hierophant seem to have forged a deep bond. Having seen all these things, I have a plethora of questions to ask, but I don't even know where to start. She's using her power to fight the sirens. How do you feel about that? The statue says nothing in response. 4-1, unforeseen development. Marco Marco Polo's ritual faith conversion had clear and immediate effects. A power of faith, hitherto unknown to this world, surged forth from Rome, transmitting along the lattice of God's light. He seemed to have little faith in people in general. A familiar yet strangely foreign air condensed in the skies of the Appiani archipelago, signaling to the world the birth of a new being. Looks like her ritual is complete. See? No divine armor you've seen, and you're all still alive. Most telling of all is the search of brain power. It does not lie. So, believe me now. Marco Polo, you're piquing my curiosity more by the minute. She actually altered the ritual God left behind, and she used it to create a new type of faith. I don't know all the nitty gritty, but it sure looks that way. She said the faith for now is a real God, one who can help us take down anyone or anything that's out for us. It looks extremely suspicious. Yeah, I'm the one to draw it up, so I'd know. Still, she is the apostle, so if anyone knows how to use faith for good, it's her. Are you saying you believe that in that God? I wouldn't say I believe in it, but I don't disbelieve in it either. Oh, I got a message from Marco Polo. She says she wants to talk to you. Oh, very well. Thus, Marco Polo and Andrea initiated a conversation over the phone. Since Andrea was up to speed, the conversation went extremely smoothly. Both sides laid out and agreed to a truce, then swiftly began to formulate their next plan. But just as everything was going swimmingly, beep beep. Andrea, the Divine Army launched an attack on us out of nowhere. What? The Divine Army? Yes, they're attacking Venice, Genoa, and Milan all at the same time. We must mount a response post-haste. But why? Why are they attacking? Don't look at me. I had no idea. Come again. The Divine Army is staging an attack. I can tell you right now, I have eyes on the Ninth Army of God and nothing has happened there. In other words, I had nothing to do with this. Okay. So it wasn't you then. Then the attackers must have been divine armies that lay dormant across the League. Once so well hidden, we weren't even aware of them. I suspect that God sensed a threat and forcibly commenced the rite of the final judgment. If he thinks he can try, let him. The power I command should now strike fear in the heart of even God. You know what? I'm going to stop calling these wretches God. I don't want any confusion between them and my God. Let's just agree to call them sirens, all right? Sirens, okay. What does God mean to you then? God simply. What else? I'm renaming them sirens now to avoid confusion, so if you want me to redefine God, that defeats the whole point. Ahem, that aside, we can't put the Divine Army genie back in the bottle now, but siren weapons in and around Rome are still under our control. Curse those sirens and their schemes. I thought I'd caught them unawares. Instead, they strike just as we join forces and we're about to hit them where it hurts. This isn't what was supposed to happen. They built this cage over 1,000 years. Of course escaping won't be easy. We still have a chance, though. Before anything else, we should group up and relocate our headquarters. There's no better time than now to knock out the sirens surrounding Rome. Heh heh heh. My thoughts exactly. Let's deal with what's on the table first. The thing is, Marco Polo is extremely pompous, extremely devious, and has this really warped sense of what quote quote God is. So that's why I don't really trust where she's taking this, because I think she's going to make the situation worse, not better. Alright, Gate 7. Question marks and more question marks. The statue in the endless white expanse is as silent as ever, but the sights reflected in its eyes are changing at every moment. Is that Marco Polo? Are these more memories? No, not quite. It feels like it's happening in the present, like it's unfolding right now. They are performing some strange ritual, then redeploying their forces. So while her body is sound asleep, her mind is off on these unbelievable escapades. There's nothing but silence from the statue. Well, from what I can tell, you're trapped somewhere for some reason. What I'm seeing here is just a projection that I can recognize. You can probably see me to some extent just as I can see you, but who knows how much information is being relayed to you. Am I supposed to make a clear and definite wish to you if I want you to answer any of my questions? Marco Polo did that once, so there's nothing but silence from the statue. I'll give it a try. It can't hurt. Hierophant, please show me any information pertaining to Marco Polo's location. I make a wish to the statue. Not long after, another door appears. I reach out to touch it, and everything changes abruptly. Record 00000-3. Deployment of experiment mechanism proceeding smoothly. Installation of mainframes proceeding normally. Core experiment generation and application of conceptualization has been established. Commencing intervention of belief system. Record 40101-7. Formulation of belief system has been completed. Moving to second phase of ideological guidance. Detecting effects of conceptualization. Generation mechanism is a point of uncertainty. Initiating introduction of meteorite sample to test site. Wisdom Cube experiments postponed until further notice. Launch will commence following start of third phase of ideological guidance. Record, lots of numbers in advance. Basic replication of conceptual effect has been successful. Generation mechanism remains uncertain. Preparing to initiate third phase of ideological guidance. Implementing introduction of wisdom cubes to test site. Task allotments for tester, purifier, and compiler systems complete. Mission codename Paradise Lost. It's Milton time! Stable replication of conceptual effect has been successful. Generation mechanism continues to elude understanding. Instability of mind due to singular ideology has been detected. Stable amplification of conceptual effect due to meteorite sample has been detected. Observations verify that, under specific circumstances, the amplified conceptual effect provided by the meteorite sample can affect the structure of wisdom cubes. Alright, catastrophe, good night. Initiating introduction of origin cubes to test site. Preparing to initiate fourth phase of ideological guidance. Record advanced quite a bit. Observations verify that thoughts stemming from faith can present two polarizing properties. Initiating amplification experiment. Record a lot more. Observations verify that pure samples can amplify the assimilation property of the meteorite sample in the form of thought transmission. Initiating amplification experiment. Record even more. Observations verify that pure samples can amplify the corrosion property of origin cubes in the form of thought transmission. Initiating amplification experiment. Record even more. Observations verify the existence of a neutralization phenomenon between polar and opposite samples. Initiating amplification experiment. Record even more. Warning, rate of control loss in pure samples has reached 30%. Even more records. Warning, rate of control loss in pure samples has reached 50%. And the records go on. Warning, rate of control loss in pure samples has reached 70%. Devising plans to shut down conceptual neutralization experiment laboratory. More records. Warning. Radio control loss in pure samples has reached 90%. Devising plans to shut down conceptual and meta bidirectional interference experiment laboratory. More records. Preparing to initiate local purification program. Emergency orders received. Halting local purification program. Initiating control transfer of test site. Thus, that looks like an IP address. Recipient, Arbiter System. Arbiter, the Hierophant 5. As it has this whole time, the statue maintains its silence. While some of my questions were answered, this also created a whole slew of new ones. Test site, the one you took charge of, Hierophant. Are you able to oversee it, even in the state you're in? Did you bring Marco Polo there in order to get help from her or something? If so, did you bring me here for the same reason? Because you need my help? Silence. The statue offers no answers, and my voice echoes hollowly in this horizonless stretch of white nothingness. Two-way interference. Sardinia Ecclesia. Capital. Sardinia League Joint Operation. Headquarters. Thanks to your orders, Your Grace. The Sirens' army is in complete chaos. Ecclesia's efforts to exterminate them is proceeding extremely smoothly. Oh, of course it is. Now, any news on Andrea? Has she managed to relocate her command center? Yes, that is done. As you've ordered, she has also been lent Florence's sources of God's light in order to maintain the domain of eternal night. It's going very well on her end, thanks to the many strings they pulled to gain the upper hand in the war. That worked to our benefit as well, so it's fine. And once we're on the same page, any advantage you can spare us will make our job easier. How are things on the other fronts? Sirens' armies are conducting a fierce attack. 3 of them have been breached nearby states' territory and are heading for Rome. Well, they're clearly after me. How magnificent. If they're split in 3, that makes them easier to pick off one at a time. Now, the Glasses of God's Light has many nodes, so how does the network connecting these nodes malfunction? I believe it was called the microlayer transference system. At least that's what I got out of Veneno back then. I've got it. We'll use the transference system to strike where the enemy least expects it. Micro, what now? What'd you say? The portal-like thing lets you quickly move to where the node is located. Does Laz have a function like that? One moment. If it does, I've certainly never heard of it before. You haven't? Meanwhile, in the boundless land of light. That's. Through the eyes of the stone statue, I've grasped what's happening in Marco Polo's world. During the near superimposition event, Clemenceau took Compiler's microlayer transference system and modified it. It wasn't part of her original plan. But wait, when Rushu had the system activated, Marco Polo had already been thrown into the sea. How and when did Marco learn about that from Veneto? She never even told me about it. Maybe it was when Shinano brought Veneto into Marco's dream? She really knows how to exploit every opportunity she gets. And the way she manifested a weapon with the power of thought, just like at the World Expo. Then there are those airships. Da Vinci made good use of those once. At any rate, let's see what Marco's next move is. Inside a desolate world overrun with thorns, religious thoughts glued with one another in the air. What's this? I was in the headquarters a moment ago. Where am I? Eagles in a fleet of airships? Hold on. This is a memory from the opening ceremony of the World Expo. I see now. This must be a revelation from God. Yes, indeed. The power of faith passes through the lattice of God's light and accumulates here. An airship fleet. I like the sound of that. But if we're going to use the imagery of Rome, it's best to do so in Florence. I'll have Da Vinci handle that. Now, if one were to try to materialize concepts relating to God, four horses in colors white, red, black, and green cross Marco Polo's mind. I have to admit, that woman has decent taste. Mechanicus Harbingers, you will be my pick. I choose you! Oh, God. Back to the gate. Oh. With the power of conception in her hand, Marco Polo materialized the Mechanis Harbingers, familiar sights from both the World Expo and the Carolean Highlands. At the same time, she ordered Raffaello to travel to Florence and manifest a fleet of airships. That's a start, but it's not enough. If I can use the source of God's light to replicate God's kingdom and bring him to us, then maybe. Meanwhile, in the boundless land of white. Huh? What the hell's this? Marco Polo suddenly issued a series of orders that were identical to what I came up with just a moment ago. I'm going to assume she didn't develop and master telepathy all of a sudden. That leaves just one option. Hierophant, are you relaying my thoughts to her? That's why she began manifesting all those weapons and got ready for you to descend to Earth, right? Was this your goal all along? Was it all to replicate the conditions of the near superimposition event in a new test site so she could herald your arrival? There's nothing but silence from the statue. No, if that was your goal, there would have been no need to involve me. And you must have some other motive. Whatever that may be, I know one thing for sure, that ritual's far too dangerous. Even with limitations of a mere seed during your first attempt, superimposition almost came to be. There would have been no turning back then. How are we going to finish it this time? Tell me, Hierophant, I want to know your plans. I ask the statue for answers. Not long after, another door appears. I reach out to touch it, and everything changes. More records. I wish you'd delayed the shutdown just a little, Lady Hierophant. The protocol would have wiped Sardinia Island completely clean by now. I must go to great lengths to hide it for you. I'm aware that you know nothing about this task. That's why I restored the meta research facilities for you. Is there anything else I can do? So she's Arbiter of the Chariot 7. Interesting. I don't think we've met her before. I only asked out of politeness. You weren't supposed to actually ask for more help. I have to repair all of it? Are you pulling my leg? You can't do it by yourself? I knew you were inept, but not to this extent. Have you no pride as a self-improving AI weapon? You are so lucky that I promised I'd desist. You have trouble in the future, save it for Devil. I'm done with you. I can understand the ruins of God, same with the armories of God, but what in the world is a shipyard of God and the garden of God? You know what? Forget I asked. This is what I get for having an interest in someone's experiments. The wisdom cubes will be distributed as gifts from gods, as you asked. Let's hope the final result of your experiment will be interesting. As it has this whole time, the statue maintains its silence. I feel like I just got a glimpse of the side of Hierophant that few ever get. Chariot, huh? Another Arbiter's image I should commit to memory. Another door appears. More records. Pre-meta Andrea Doria. Sky and sea change so dramatically once you pierce the veil. Rumors are true, Caesar. Sardinia Island wasn't obliterated. It was just hidden by God. What a hideous sight. It's as though a war took place here. Andrea, I've sighted a cluster of remarkably intact buildings. There's some writing that I can't read. Mind taking a look? Sure, let me see. It says, Conceptual and Meta Bidirectional Interface Experiment Laboratory? Laboratory? In this place? Hey, is it just me, or have you also not been able to sense the power of faith since we came in here? It should be able to be felt from anywhere. Yes, now that you mention it. There must be earth-shaking secrets lying in this hidden battleground. We have to scour this place thoroughly. As it has this whole time, the statue maintains its silence. That's why the test site is home to so many metas. They took advantage of the Sirens' abandoned facilities and willingly underwent metamorphosis. So there exists technology that can induce controlled metamorphosis. Assuming it really can be controlled, that is. Another door appears. Record, much higher. Restructuring of the security system is complete. I have also created 255 sub-options to meet the various needs of your experiments. The buttons for option 1 through 255 are all here. Don't touch anything else besides these. Also refrain from touching buttons 251 through 255. They initiate emergency backup plans I set up for you. Finally, I've positioned one of my own mecha arbitrators here. Don't say anything about it not being enough. One mecha arbitrator can endure more punishment than a combined fleet can dish out in over 1,000 years. I'm going to be busy for a few days now while I write a manual. When that's done, I'm not coming back here ever again. While I'd love to see the experiment's results, I'm not going to sit around for centuries waiting for them. Let me know when the results are in. Interesting. As it has this whole time, the statue maintains its silence. I wait for a minute or two, but no other doors appear. What I gathered from that is that Chariot constructed a defense system of test site and only you can control it. But since you're in your current state, the defense system is working automatically. The fiercest part of the system is a Mecha Arbiter, and apparently it would be impossible to take down even if the whole test site worked together. Therefore, the one and only way they could survive was if you used Marco Polo to bring you down to Earth, right? Did you nudge her in the direction of the Sardinia Island Mirror Sea in order to minimize potential collateral damage caused by the ritual? Seeing as it's under the control of Andrea's side, they should be able to keep the collateral fairly low. Now I understand everything that's happened so far. Marco Polo and that world face a potential apocalypse. I'm not sure how well Marco Polo will be able to control the collateral of the ritual either. You still have yet to tell me, what exactly do you want my help with? Is there anything that isn't going exactly how you planned it? Silence. The statue offers no answers, and my voice echoes hollowly in this horizonless stretch of white nothingness. Alright, dating the enemy. Sardinia Ecclesia, capital, cathedral, somewhere underground. After witnessing the same series of visions as the commander did, Marco Polo fell into deep thought. If those visions are true, that means Sardinia Island was not destroyed by Paradise Lost, merely concealed by a mirror sea. Andrea has long known it's the secret, and she captured the island in that meta research laboratory in secret. Cornerstone of this branch's security system is a massive mech known as Mecha Arbiter, the Chariot. So did God just give me a divine revelation to use the light of heaven to get rid of that steel beast? She went through bits of information in her head, then reached a conclusion. The revelation is clear. That being the case, I should stick to the plan. Said plan being divided into 2 steps: luring out the enemy, then annihilating it. That isn't that much of a problem. However powerful it is, it should be fine as long as I can fully materialize the kingdom of God and throw an army of gazers at it. So luring out will be the tricky part. This Mecha Arbiter hasn't as much shown a glimpse of itself yet. The sirens are still preserving their forces. I need to make them escalate. We could use my Kingdom of God ritual as bait, but setting it up will take time, and forget about catching them by surprise for too conspicuous. What else is there? Ah, right. Rafalia was good at these things. I'll ask her. Beep. Huh? A way to make sirens escalate. How about making it look like we're going to blow Rome to bits? Like, well, if we took that mutual destruction plan Andrea had and turned it up to 11? Sirens want you and the Meadows to be at each other's throats, right? That's their goal, he thinks. So, what if it seemed like the Meadows were about to destroy the capital before that goal was achieved? A magnificent idea. That's ideal for Andrea to transfer the core node of the domain of the Eternal Night to Sardinia Island. Not only will it draw out the enemy, but it'll also make them turn their sights to that island. A textbook example of baiting the enemy. Andrea at once. No. Focus on manifesting the Mechanist Harbingers. I will personally go and speak to Andrea. Once the Mecha Arbiter is defeated, all that will remain are disordered small fry. Oh, what an ingenious plan! Alright, back to the gate. Unknown location, unknown time. I watched through the statue's eyes as Marco Polo traveled to Sardinia Island in a great hurry. So that's what you're planning. Judging by her reaction, though, she didn't see the records as they were. Rather, you showed her doctored visions, didn't you? While the statue remained silent, I feel like it's silently confirming my suspicions. And if Marco Polo had seen the same things as I, she wouldn't have reacted to Hierophant. Let me guess, you aren't presenting yourself to her as God on purpose, but the time to clear up that misunderstanding is past, and now you're simply going along with it, right? An amusing possibility crosses my mind. Dots. Somehow I get the feeling that the statue averted its gaze for but a moment. Did Marco Polo really deal with the Mecha Arbiter with the information you'd given her? Chariot said something about her Mecha Arbiter having the strength to rival the entire test site all at once, didn't she? Dots. Although statue cannot express emotions, it feels like it just looked away anxiously. I'm starting to figure out why you dragged me into this. Marco Polo and her subjects wield the collective power of the mind, while Andrea and her supporters have the corrosive might of metamorphosis on their side. Bring the other down with them. Neutralization phenomenon between polar opposites. The powers you gave them will be the key to victory against your army in this world. In the branch I come from, we did something similar for dealing with the protective barriers of tester, purifier, and emitter. Tell me, Hierophant, does the Mecha Arbiter have an adaptive barrier of its own? Just a stone's throw away, another door appears. I reach out to touch it, and everything changes. Yeah. Okay. Only silence from the statue answers me. Once spirit adapts too much in one direction, it becomes hard for it to pivot in another direction. That property can be exploited. It's like heating steel to high temperatures, then rapidly cooling it to make it brittle. You have to quench the barrier. When the Mecha Arbiter appears, Andrew's group will begin by attacking the barrier with the power of the domain of eternal night. They'll be the figurative fire that heats the steel. Meanwhile, the Sardinia League will raise the barrier of eternal night over as many nodes as possible, amplifying the strength of meta-corrosion. Marco Polo will set up the ritual on Sardinia Island, halt it at the last moment before the Kingdom of God materializes, then wait for the right time. That's when they'll spring their bait plan into action, drawing out as much of the Mecha Arbiter's power as possible while luring it inside of the center where the Kingdom of God will appear. If all goes well, the barrier will be firing on all pistons to counter against meta-corrosion. That will be the opportunity to annihilate it. Marco Polo finishes the ritual, locks the enemy in place, and unleashes all conceptual power at once to deal a devastating blow. This plan is their best shot. Eurofont, relay this plan. At the same time, inside the Sardinia League's new joint headquarters on Sardinia Island, Andre was having familiar apprehensions. So the killing blow part of this plan, isn't it a bit crude? What if, for example, all of our combined strength still isn't enough to beat God's weapon? I know there's very little intel on our enemy, but we should be prepared for the worst case. Yes, I understand your concern, just hold on. I'll ask for a revelation. Ask for one? Do revelations simply come when you ask for them? Huh. Interesting. Ignoring the doubtful looks around her, Marco Polo closes her eyes, opening them again just a short while later. I've got it. That was quick. Did your God tell you anything? God hath spoken, and we shall quench it. We'll exploit a property of the Sirens' barrier and pummel it with attacks of two opposing natures within a short span. This will allow us to break through within the limits of its defense. What? Is that the revelation you received? Well, yeah. I figured my vision said so. Are you doubting me? This God of yours is sure something else. Right? I couldn't agree more. Now that we have a plan, we just have to iron out the details. The final battle, part 1. Once the plan was set in stone, the ship girls all sprung into action. In the truest sense, the Sardinia League had united as one for the first time ever. They had become something worthy of the title of League. HQ issued orders one after the next, while the ship girls intercepted the 3 separate fleets of sirens. What's more, the core node hosting the domain of eternal night on the island was very clearly signaling an intention to destroy Rome. Notice how everything's changed to black and red. This borderline provocation naturally drew the attention and fire of the Sirens' defense system. The 3 siren fleets were dead in their tracks, but then a 4th one suddenly emerged right in the middle of the sea. A figure matching the description of the Mecha Arbiter was clearly visible in their midst. According to Her Grace, several fleets of these so-called mass-produced ships and enforcers have appeared. The Genoan Republics and the Dukedom of Milan's fleets are keeping the first Siren fleet in check, while the Republic of Venice's and the Sardinia Ecclesia's fleets are tackling the second one. As for the third fleet, the Kingdom of Sicily's fleet is implementing its plan to grind them to a halt. Each of our fleets is doing its utmost to stop the enemy's advance and isolate the 4th fleet of Sirens. While they do that, our forces will be the key to destroying the Mecha Arbiter's fleet. The enemy in question is on a straight course towards Sardinia Island. We will be within its range in approximately 30 minutes. The Republic of Florence will take care of its mass-produced ships. The enforcers will be dealt with by our mixed fleet that hasn't yet participated in battle. As part of our quenching tactic, we cannot expect assistance in the form of the mechanists, our harbingers, or the strength amplifier in the lattice of God's light. The only assistance we can expect is aerial support from Da Vinci's and Alfredo's fleet of airships. Finally, Her Grace is performing the ritual and setting up the bait and extermination parts of our plan, which means that you are the only ones that can handle the Mecha Arbiter. I am a knight of the Sardinia League, and I will perform my duty no matter what. It's us against God's most powerful weapon. I pictured countless ways that this war could end. I would not in 1,000 years have guessed that this is how it would end. Every state in the League is coming together in unity in pursuit of victory. It's a wonderful thing to see. Agreed. It's the best thing I could have ever hoped for. Only if we win will it be so, Andrea. Yes, that's true. Our final opponent stands before us. So does the hope we've fostered for so long. We will break free of our cage, whatever the cost may be. Okay. It's battle time. Level 135. Kaboom! Andrea, I am presently engaging the Enforcers. Their strength is so far beyond expectations that a quick fight is out of the question. I'll do all I can to hold them back. Understood. Things are going super well for our airship fleet, luckily. Doesn't look like the enemy is equipped to deal with aerial attacks, so we've already reduced their mass-produced fleet to scraps. Heck, we kind of have forces to spare, so how about we send some your way? No, let's stick to the plan. You're the boss. Boom. Andrea, our attacks aren't getting through. In fact, the domain of Eternal Night isn't having any observable effect. And we don't have enough output. Carducci, we have to capture every node as soon as possible. We're engaged on all fronts, but I'll try to hurry things along. Is it time to employ our backup plan? Not yet. Launch one more offensive. This thing is oogly. Okay, we were fighting 135 level things now. No, this is still 135. I was looking at the 100 health bars. Kaboom! As Trento said, our attacks really are ineffective. If nothing changes soon, they'll be threatening the core node within an hour. Andrea, Her Grace has just informed me that the ritual's been set up. The enemy is already within strike range. The Kingdom of God can be deployed at any time. It's too soon. Too many nodes aren't connected yet. The domain hasn't even reached half of its predicted output. We need more to put sufficient pressure on the enemy. Keep capturing nodes and raising the banner of Eternal Night. Meanwhile, I suppose it's time to carry out the backup plan. Overclock the laboratory system and push the metacorrosion up to a new threshold. Are you sure that's a good idea? I'm sure. We've always been ready for this if that's what it takes to break free. Nothing too serious. It will just give us more strength at the cost of our health. That's pretty serious. The only thing you've got is your health. That's definitely not all it does based on Her Grace's reaction to your plan. I've always wanted to break past that meaningless safety protocol. I'm on it. Carducci, don't flip the extermination switch just yet. Stick to the plan and focus on expanding the domain. We only have one shot at this, so remember, no matter how hard the fighting gets, don't relent until you've given the signal. Okay, final battle part 2.
私の任務は勝利を手にすること。行きましょう。足を引っ張らないでください。まだやるべきことがたくさん残っているわ。
Roar! Shrouded in thick fog, the huge machine was firing in all directions, not a single blind spot out of range of its cannons. Andrea, 90% of all the nodes have been captured now. And we should be good. Overclock the system and encase the enemy completely in the domain of eternal night. The fog thickened, and streaks of blood-red light rushed through it. It was like the domain of eternal night had converged into a single entity, like a giant had risen from its slumber. Andrea's group coordinated so closely that it was almost like they were an extension of this giant. Kaboom! Roar! Cannons covered in fog struck the mecha arbiter's sturdy barriers. Blinding beams of light burst forth. Andrea, the enemy's attacks are getting duller and its barriers growing darker. Looks like it worked. So the moment has finally come. Marco Polo! I know, commencing the final step of the plan now. What? Doesn't seem like anything happened. Did the ritual work? God just told me to hang on a minute. Did I hear that right? God wants you to wait. Seems like we have no other choice, so I'll use the final card in our hand. What are you talking about? The cursed thing's barrier is completely attuned to your attacks. I'll destroy all our equipment. The core node, the laboratory, and everything else on Sardinia Island. They contain a tremendous source of energy. Destroying them all at the same time will generate a massive shockwave. What consequences will that have? It won't be possible to rebuild the laboratory. No new metas will come to be if we destroy all that machinery. No more metas? Oh, that's acceptable. We don't need them. Can you ensure the safety of your comrades, though? No need to worry about that. Magnificent! Do it, then! In the endless white expanse, I witness all of the ship girls' conversations and the changes of the battle through the eyes of the statue. An energy source that creates metas. Is she talking about a special wisdom cube? Origin cubes, to be specific? You're not seriously considering detonating them, are they? The image of a black tornado destroying everything in its path flashes to my mind. You have to stop them. Nobody will be able to stand the damage if those cubes go off. In response to my plea, and yet another door appears not far. Oh, does that mean that the plan will work out just fine? What are you trying to tell me? I reach out to touch it and everything changes. Well, Dr. Toast, my experiment was a success. You discovered a way to blow up energy cubes, you mean? I see Dr. Toast and Colette conversing inside a strangely familiar laboratory. Hey, it's a serious research project. Don't paint me like some kid experimenting with firecrackers. My peers can be as biased against it as they want, but I still believe the explosive propulsion engine is a promising subject. It was widely believed that it was impossible for E-cubes to release an explosion of energy in a short time, despite the enormous amount of energy they contain. And yet, wisdom cubes, particularly the ones that have undergone metamorphosis, are reliably able to cause a destructive shockwave in response to stimulus. And what's true for wisdom cubes is true for energy cubes as well. The wisdom cube can undergo metamorphosis. There's no reason why E-cubes shouldn't be able to, in theory. It is natural, then, to change our way of thinking and try to work out how metamorphosis works for energy cubes. And in theory, it's not the same as in practice. Energy cubes are far more stable than wisdom cubes. How on earth did you make it turn meta? Sorry, trade secret. If you want to use our technique, we can discuss a business contract. No. See, what I'm concerned about is the safety. Talk about being a worrywart. Do you remember the wisdom cube power output monitor and limiter you showed me before? My team uses that as a template for our own version made for a meta energy cubes. I have named it the M-type limiter, Subject to change. A meta energy cube with the limiter installed exhibits completely different behaviors based on whether the desired output exceeds the value needed for an explosion or not. If it's below the value, the limiter ensures not a single iota energy will be released, preventing the expression of its meta characteristics. Basically, it's just brick. But if the value exceeds the detonation threshold, kaboom! The limiter is immediately disabled and the violent energy surge is then released as a shockwave. Since this simultaneously destroys the cube's casing, there's also zero risk of a secondary hazard. Come to think of it, I haven't come up with a name for these unique E-cubes yet. Meta energy cubes, MEC for short. Actually, how about M-type energy cube? M-Tech. Okay. The statue's eyes stare back at me inside the endless white space. An energy cube with meta properties. Not just that, a cube that can be detonated. That's what they are. Energy cube bombs, hooray! Well, the thing's shield is barely moving. And it just refreshed. Great. Amid ceaseless explosions, the great beast of condensed red and black fog launched a relentless attack on the prey trapped within it. Roar! Marco Polo. Once again, commencing the final quenching stage of the plan. Carducci, send out the following commands to every node. Immediately remove the banner of the eternal night and restart the lattice of God's light. As you command. Raffaello, send the mechanics harborers to the front. Oh yeah, let's wreck some stuff. Go give them hell, my masterworks. And Baraka, lead the Holy See Guard fleet into battle. I've been waiting for this. We're ready to go. Magnificent, and finally, oh God, give me your strength and bring us your kingdom. Okay. 6-1, Final Battle, Part 3. It's Marco Polo with wings and gold and the Eye of Truth. Thus, the red and black fog that embodied the eternal night vanished in an instant. The world lit up with the light of faith, and a sacred silence filled the air from horizon to horizon. In the midst of the pure white, the chorus resounded. I am Marco Polo, the Apostle. Nonsense. O army of God, heed my command. Nonsense. Smite this evil with your blade. More nonsense. Kaboom. Oh, look at that. Marco Polo, I'm in position. Holy moly, the fighting here is so intense. That's Kingdom of God. That's the Army of God. This is such a good inspo. I gotta draw it right now. Ahem. Mechanus Harbours, go forth. Save your drawing for after we've won. Hey, Rafalia's here. Kaboom. The Holy See Guard fleet has arrived. Reinforcements, Your Grace. Excellent timing. Are the nodes being changed? About half of all nodes suffer damage that cannot be repaired. Besides those, all others have been converted and connected to the lattice of God's light. Magnificent! I'll give you a small boost before you go in. There. Now go. Crush them until there's nothing left. No, the shield doesn't stand up to much. Kaboom! With Marco Polo commanding it from atop her throne, the offense struck like an unstoppable tsunami. The Mecha Arbiter's barrier was completely destroyed after a coordinated volley, so the ship girls mercilessly bombarded its exposed armor with their cannons. Roar! Phew, we've finally broken through that stupidly thick barrier. Now to pierce the armor. Continue the attack. Strip away everything it has. In the endless expanse of white, I watch as the barrier disintegrates through the statue's eyes. A strange light flashes in the statue's eyes. Then, the next moment, it and I are sucked into a vortex that appeared out of nowhere. Uh-oh. With God by my side. Question marks and question marks. When my vision returns to me, I find myself looking at a Siren mainframe. Beneath the false sky and a hollow sea, the city of steel towers silently. Dots. The statue still won't say a word, but it does envelop me in a pure white and carry me through the city. We pass through a nameless street, cross through a plaza, and snake through an alleyway before finally arriving at the colossal tower in the center. Still encased in the whiteness, I am escorted up several stories of the structure. Then we stop inside a hall. There, a hologram of Mecha Arbiter, the Chariot 7, stands silently. Dots. At the same time, I realize that there is a panel hosting hundreds of buttons not far from the hologram. Oh my god. Is that the panel for the security system that Chariot created? I approach to get a closer look. The buttons are labeled 1 through 255, and the panel looks almost antiquated compared to its surroundings. It stands out. Yep, that's it. These 255 buttons must be the sub-options for the security system that Chariot said she installed. And beyond those, next to all the similar buttons in a clearly sanctioned off area, there sits a single big red button. Ooh, what does this button do? Looking closely, I can see small writing under it. Security system emergency shutdown button. Do not press outside of emergencies. Dots. And this thing wants us to press it. Well, while they did manage to strip the Mecha Arbiter of its barrier, that alone won't be enough to defeat it. To do that, it has to be weakened sufficiently for you to interfere with it. Basically, if I understand you correctly, you want me to push this button, right? Dots. Despite not receiving an answer, I can intuit what the statue wants. Let's push the button. The lights in the hall go out one by one, and the hologram of the Mecha Arbiter also grows fainter and fainter before disappearing altogether. Phew, that should do it. Beep beep. My communicator's ringing. Despite me not pressing the answer button, my communicator keeps ringing for a while, then automatically necks. Huh? Why'd you push that button? Why'd you screw up this time, Hierophant? Dots. A dizzying wave wash over me, painting everything in pure white color again. Interesting scene. Look at the two of them go. Unknown location, unknown time. In the endless expanse of white, the statue and I stare at one another. That collar, it was Hierophant herself, wasn't it? Dots. Statue is as silent as it's been the whole time, and yet it looks as though there's a little more life. Right as that thought forms, the white space collapses, but in a blink of an eye. Meanwhile, the Sardanians were celebrating with vigor. We did it! We did it! We won! They stood in front of the wreckage of the Mecha Arbiter. Everyone was cheering, hooting, and hollering. Target has been completely destroyed. Mission complete. I can't believe the barrier was that strong, but it was so squishy underneath. Guess it was a paper tiger after all. It was nerve-wracking, but we succeeded in the end. We actually won? I'm not dreaming here, am I? You aren't. I'm hearing good news from all over the League. All the other Siren forces fell silent practically at the moment the Mecha Arbiter was defeated. Victory is ours. Cage has been broken. We've finally done it. From now on, we can race across the sea free and unrestrained. By the way, Marco Polo, what will you do with the Kingdom of God? Put your concerns to rest. Now that the threat has passed, it's obvious what I'm going to do with it. Take over the world. The aftermath and changes to come after this battle can be discussed once we've had our celebration. Now that the string pullers of the world's fate have been defeated, I am sure just by talking it out, we can always reach an agreement that sits right with everyone. Marco Polo suddenly stopped mid-sentence, and a buzzing light flashed in her eyes. Your Grace? Sorry. Change plans. God is calling for me, so it's up to you to discuss the celebration banquet among yourselves. What? Are you serious? You'll always be our one and only apostle, Your Grace. Forever. I'll create a masterpiece for us all to remember you by. Enough with the histrionics. Sure, I said that I'm going to perish, but that's not the case. Huh? You don't mean you're giving up the ghost? Obviously not. Cast your mind back to my anointment ceremony. You do remember that I said that I'm not from this world, yeah? I'm simply go back whence I came. Oh. I thought that was a joke. Of course it wasn't a joke. Alright, clarify. Now stop making that face. It's not like I'm never coming back. You're never coming back. You better paint that masterpiece for me. I want to see it one day. Yeah, I promise I will. Never expected that our farewell would come this abruptly. You came to us so suddenly, now you leave equally suddenly, like a gust of wind. Sorry, that's just how I roll. Now then, I entrust the aftermath to you. Don't worry, it's in safe hands. We will work with the Ecclesia to restore order to the Sardinia League. And then we will move toward a free and beautiful future together. I look forward to seeing it. Now it's time for me to leave. With a slightly pained look in her eyes, Marco Polo bid farewell to her friends. Until we meet again. Marco Polo closed her eyes and silently lay down in the water. A fading light illuminated her face, calm and serene, like she was dreaming from a wonderful dream. From up on high, she silently gazed down at herself, sleeping soundly and surrounded by everyone she knew. A smile formed on her lips, then she finally turned around and left. Although Marco Polo, the ship girl, may have left the Sardinia League, Marco Polo, the apostle, will forever be with them. The end. Ha! Called it. Interesting. And now we have the epilogues. Inside the NA Ocean's Central Singularity Tribunal Special Fleet. cabin below deck. Next thing I knew, I'd returned to the very moment I was going to open the door next to Marco Polo's cabin. Am I back? What time is the second hand of my pocket watch has only advanced a handful of ticks. Just a short distance away, Miss Hat, Marco Polo, is still in a deep sleep. Miss Hat, I like that. Still sleeping, huh? Safe to assume that the bond between her and Hierophant grew deeper after all this. Only time will tell whether that's for the better or worse. Beep beep. Commander, have you finished logging that entry? Yeah, I'm done. Miss Hat is still asleep. I'll hand her over. Roger, we'll go there now. Oh, could you pass on a word to Helena for me? Tell her to call me as soon as this business is done with and that I have something important to discuss. Will do. There's no knowing what may happen inside the Singularity, Commander. Please return as quickly as possible. We will meet again. Unknown location, unknown time. An endless stretch of pure white, a space where time and space were meaningless. It was as though it was through here that Marco Polo wandered. Ah, this is horrible. Wherever I look, it's all the same. How am I supposed to find my way home? I'm exhausted. I miss my throne. She muttered to herself, then sat down on a throne. Huh? You know, I think I'd like a more lavish throne. She muttered again, and this time sat down on a throne more lavish than the last. What in the world? Whoa, it's a real lavish throne you got there, Marco. Fellow, what are you doing here? I had too much to drink at the banquet, so I just... What is this place, anyway? An excellent question. I haven't the faintest clue. Okay. Sprout with a tulipa. Irish Orthodoxy. Capital. Commander's office. Days later. Several days have passed since the incident, and my life is fully back to the usual. I told Helen about my run-in with Hierophant and said I wanted to run some tests, but she didn't get back to me. As for our plans to deal with what sirens linger in the world, each of them is progressing steadily. One closest to completion is our plan to clean up the NA Ocean. It's comparatively easy work since it's the area where Compiler fell. It will be led jointly by the Royal Navy, Irish Orthodoxy, Ironblood, and Northern Parliament. Commander, Bismarck has extended an invitation to you. She wants you to attend a diplomatic dinner tomorrow. An invitation from Bismarck? Those don't come every day. Hang on. I accept the invitation. An emblem on the front consisting of windmills and tulips catches my attention. The Kingdom of Tulipia. I see. That's why Bismarck is taking the initiative. What are we going to discuss? That lower countries treaty that they're drafting in Europa? Or maybe it will be about Tulupian ship girls. Either way, color me intrigued. Tell that I'll absolutely be there. In fact, I want you to come with me. Really? Sure. There may be a lot of work we'll have to discuss. Oh, naturally. Tulupian ship girls, huh? I sense an Ironblood event in the future. Trouble on the horizon. In an endless sea of stars, a long-lasting pursuit was finally about to reach its end. Kaboom. Thief! 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 Give me back my whale. Stubborn pest, this one. Regardless, her end is near. Keep it up. She's at her limit, so hit her harder. Boom. Ah, you don't give up. Well, I got some good data, so if you want it so bad, fine. Just know that I'm letting you have this. You didn't beat me. I'll be back. Boom. Devil's vessel was blown to bits in a plume of fire. Just like that, the battle was over at last. Hee hee. Well, 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 my whale's finally back. Thanks for the help, Sheffield. If you hadn't come, who knows how much longer we would have had to chase her around. My arrival was but a coincidence, and I thought I should assist. You need not sing my praises. It should be your Majesty's determination and tenacity that you should thank for this victory. Good point. Thanks, Lizzie. Save your thanks for later. Now that your whale is back, do you sense anything different? Hmm. Maybe? Yeah. What is it? I forgot. I can't remember how I'm supposed to use the whale. You bloody what? You do know how to use it. Well, we've at least secured the whale now. Sooner or later, its method of usage becomes clear. Since most test site's beta new coordinates have been calculated, a more detailed inspection will have to wait until we get back home. Ah, fine. Wait, how do we bring the whale back? By packing it up. Worry not, the Queen's Light will have no trouble fitting a single whale. Your Majesty, something doesn't feel quite right. Yes, you're right. Something tiresome is coming our way. Blast it. We should have recovered the train cars before departure. What's wrong, Lizzie? Trouble is coming, that's what. Once you and Sheffield have retrieved the whale, stay inside the train. We shall deal with this trouble ourselves. Okay. Her. The blinding light fades and I find myself inside a well-lit classroom. Hey, this place again. Did Madam M summon me? Of course, this happens right when Helen is looking for me all over out there. I look out the window. The weather's calm, with a gentle breeze and sunshine. Inside the classroom, though. Where's Madam M? And why the heck did she bring me? I take a walk around the classroom. I move some chairs and some desks and knock on the podium, but still, Madam M's nowhere. This is weird. Gathering my courage, I grip the door and slide it aside to take a look outside, but right then... hello. Oh, that's Bonhomme Richard before she transformed. No. This is bad. This is bad. This is really bad. I was told my classes would be held here today. Duh? The person who knocked is someone I've seen before. Yeah. Hey everyone, it's me, Bonhomme Richard. The final countdown is in theaters now. Yeah. I had a lot of fun in the starring role. Be sure to check it out. Welcome to the paradox of time, where past and present become one and history has actually changed. The final countdown, now in a theater near you. Buy a ticket today, and you have the chance to win a 3-day guided tour of... That voice, that tornado. Is that Bonhomme Richard? There's no mistaking it, but how'd she get here? Bonhomme Richard? Who's she? She's a ship girl from our branch, and the only person in existence at the head of Antiochus Zero that the head of Antiochus Zero cannot write into her mainframe. Even with the endless information from the past Zero has access to, she cannot reconstruct Richard. Moreover, Richard has never been seen in any other branch as far as we know. This is the first time we've laid eyes on her since her namesake incident. Is she after you? Why? You. Miss Richard? All of a sudden, everything rapidly breaks down before my eyes. Right before I completely black out, it looks as though there's a momentary hint of confusion in Bonhomme Richard's eyes. Dun dun dun. The night's silent. I'm in bed. The ceiling greets me. Hi, ceiling. Wait, what was that? Was that a dream? Maybe. Who knows? All right. And that's the story. Hi,
重要
TB.
イベントが発生しています。発生地は
Okay,
情
wow.
報伝達の過程におけ
I
る
managed to get through the story in one sitting. Hooray!
TV も一緒に確認に行きます。
Thank you, everyone, that decided to stop by to enjoy this event with me. It was a bit of a wacky roller coaster, but I kind of expected that. I hope everyone has fun with this event and good luck with your polls. Good night.